Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here. It's Thursday, and we had a game yesterday, and we've got a game today. So I'm reacting and previewing today. Double duty. Very weird, disappointing game yesterday against the Detroit Pistons. Of course, the Pistons did not play their best summer league players yesterday. Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, Isaiah Livers, all sitting out. A bunch of them sitting out, like 4 or 5 of their regular guys. They would have absolutely killed us if they had those guys playing. All it really took was Ausar Thompson, one of the Thompson twins, absolutely fantastic yesterday, showing an all-around game, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and beating the Raptors in a game where they were up by 17 at one point, and it looked like they were cruising towards actually winning the game. But then we still managed to lose at the end of the game. I hated that so much. Gradey looked good. Gradey looked good in the first half. He had 18 points at halftime on 6 of 10 shooting. And then in the second half, not so good in the second half. And the rest of the Raptors kind of falling apart too. In particular, the second quarter was fantastic for the Summer League Raptors. 36 points in 10 minutes is an accomplishment and was a big reason why they had such a good lead at halftime. But yeah, it was a very frustrating. I was like, we started really bad. We're down by a lot early. Then we turn the tide and we're winning in the second quarter into halftime. And then the third, they start to shrink the lead. And then, we're kind of still managing the game and we should have still won the game. But some real boneheaded plays at the end of the game and missed wide open threes that really hurt us, particularly Gradey and Markquis taking shots that just did not go in. Maybe not the best shot at that time. I'm still really annoyed. Trevor's here. Good morning to Trevor J. Good morning, Raptors family. Don't let your ego and your selfish behavior get in the way of you being a good person. Wow, Trevor J. Great words of wisdom today. Yeah, ego is a hard thing to manage with people in some ways these days. We're most egotistical society than ever right now with social media and really worrying about our looks so much and judging people by their looks and being shallow and like, oh, I would never talk to that person. Look at what they're wearing and stuff like that. It's really bad, actually, how people kind of dismiss people just because of certain weird things. So, yeah, this is great. Great words of wisdom this morning, Trevor J. Thank you. Canadian Dana is here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to Canadian Dana. I am Canadian. My earlier comments disappeared for some reason. Well, don't worry, Dana. If you want to be first, we'll say you were first. This happens. I've noticed if you come in too early, like the day before or something like that, for some reason the comments disappear. It's like you can't really come in and leave comments in here like way ahead of time because I won't see them in the morning. It's very weird. They have to be within earlier in the morning, but not too late like last night. It's you can't get them in. It's weird. All right, Trevor's telling us what he does. I'm an educator and I work for some of the biggest manufacturers that make hair care products and tools. So I travel back and forth to the US. So right now I'm in the US. Wow, Trevor. Okay, so now your page on Facebook makes more sense. I see you on a stage doing things with hair products. Well, he's a performer who tests and shows how to use products or to try and sell products for companies as far as showing up and doing conventions and things like that. I'm sure that's what Trevor J is doing. That's awesome. So you educate people on new hair products. Fantastic, Trevor. So you have a very good public speaking experience. I'm sure you're very, very good at getting up there. And I'm sure you're funny too, knowing your personality on here. I'll bet you crack jokes all the time while you're doing it. I'd have fun watching Trevor J demonstrate hair products and different equipment and stuff like that. That's fantastic, Trevor. Great to know more about you. David's here. Good morning to David Saborin, y'all. Saturday. Oh no. All right, I'm back. Okay, the internet going a little flaky. Saturday, 3 p.m., Real Sports Bar and Grill. We're doing the Raptor Freak annual meet and greet. So come on down there. David Saborin is the guest of honor. It is a Saturday Share the Love Club for David and his win of this trivia for last season. He is our trivia champion right now. I'm going to give him his award on Saturday, 3 p.m. at Real Sports Bar and Grill. It's an open invite to anybody who wants to come down there and meet me, meet Monique, meet Granny Evelyn, David and Peter Saborin, and other people from this channel will be down there hanging out 3 p.m. Real Sports Saturday afternoon. Hopefully you can come and join us. There will be prizes. There will be fun. Maybe we'll be able to film live during the event while we're there, so y'all can all see it on the live stream. So definitely, if you're in Toronto and you've got Saturday afternoon free and you enjoy this channel, you can come down and hang out with us in person. It's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So 3 p.m. David, I'll see you there. Trevor's saying the Raptors team played really good last night. They should have won the game, but they made too many mistakes in the end. Make Detroit come back and beat them. Yeah, it was really disappointing. That one turnover by Gradey right at the end was really deflating. Really, really deflating. I mean, listen, there is a learning curve to coming into the NBA. You're going to have to learn that people are bigger, faster, stronger, and smarter. And there's certain things you can do in college at Kansas that you can't do at this level. And everything's got to be tightened up. I think this has been a wake-up call for both Markquis Noel and Grady Dick about just how hard the NBA is. This is summer league, y'all, too. This is not the creme de la creme. This is not the best that the NBA has to offer. This is actually the easiest level. And when you guys get to G League, when you show up for some 905 games this year, you'll see there's another higher level than what you're playing right now. And then after that, there's the real NBA. And it gets even harder. It's regular season NBA. And then you got to go to the whole other level of the playoffs. And then each level of the playoffs gets to an even more intense level of playing basketball in the NBA. So, yeah, get ready for more wake-up calls. I'm a little worried about Grady. My gut reaction to him when I saw him play in college is that he's not going to translate to the NBA. And I am a little worried about this at this point. I understand he's got a really specialized role and he'll be very good at it. We saw some flashes of just how good his three-point shot could be, but he had two wide open threes in the last 3 minutes of the game that he could have, if he had just nailed those, I would have had even more faith in his specialized skill as a shooter. This isn't fun and games, y'all. Y'all need to start getting going. And I understand that team is not conducive to winning, because in a lot of ways, it's just a thrown together group of guys. And there really isn't any kind of the gelling's awful on the Raptors Summer League team. It really, really is. It should be so much better, but it isn't. And it's disappointing. It's definitely disappointing. Yeah, they had their chances and Detroit executed. Specifically, Thompson, very, very multi-usage kind of guy, getting steals, blocks, rebounds, assists. Getting a really beautiful reverse alley-oop at one point. Yeah, that guy is a seriously good player. In fact, I like him better than Miller and Scoot. Honestly, the Thompson twins may end up being better than those guys. Seriously, I know everybody's saying Scoot's a home run, Scoot's this. I still don't believe it. I still don't believe it. And Brandon Miller, I have even less faith in now after Summer League. So, yeah, it's really interesting. G saying, I know we should not read into it, but Trae Young and Pascal have followed each other. I'm finding this a possibility at this point since Fred left. I don't see why they would bother, especially now. Trae, I can see trolling, but Pascal, maybe just reading into it too much, but found it odd. Yeah, I think you're reading into it too much, G. Definitely reading into it too much. Let's just put this Pascal stuff on hold. There's a lot of it. We've been hearing about it for a while, and it honestly doesn't matter. You know, it could be just some guy in Atlanta who's a fan like me making this shit up and trying to get something going. I think this very much is like Bobby and Masai don't have any interest in moving Pascal, and the other sides are just really trying to cause confusion and make it seem like it. In fact, I really feel like this is just today's modern NBA, that if there's a player on a team that somebody doesn't want on that team anymore, well, that people around the NBA will make up bullshit over and over again until it kind of makes something happen in truth. And I'm sick of this. In some ways, it's like espionage and manipulation, and it's kind of like subterfuge. It's kind of like, intelligence games like two governments would use. You know, like Russia has agents in North America trying to help change the perception of the war in Ukraine. You know, it's that kind of shit. there's people that are probably very much trying to change the conversation and to manipulate through misinformation and bullshit out there. And we need to realize this is a big part of it. You are reading into this too much. Trae Young may be following him just because, it's Siakam and he knows that Atlanta's really is interested in him. Siakam could follow Trae Young because they met each other at All-Star game and they're friends. He probably follows a lot of NBA players that are not on our team, and they're people that he probably has no intention to ever play with. It's just that they're his peers. They're people that he plays against and stuff like that. So, don't read into this unfollow bullshit. We talked about this recently. Like, there's nothing to look at with that kind of stuff. I think it's more likely you learn more from people liking stuff or commenting on stuff than actually whether they're following or unfollowing people. People have really weird reasons for why they follow and unfollow people. You got to remember that. Sometimes people will unfollow a person just because they made one political post and it's really annoying to them. So we can't read into this just as much as you shouldn't read into if you lose a Facebook friend all of a sudden. Oh my gosh, my Facebook friend count is down by 1 all of a sudden this morning when I woke up. What happened? Well, you don't know if somebody got pissed off because you posted something political, or maybe they just decided, if am I ever going to see this person again? I'm just going to defriend them. Or maybe they deactivated their account and they just got completely off of the internet and social media. And that is why they are not your friend anymore. See, there's all kinds of stories it could be about why it is. And filling in the blanks of this is just not worth the brain energy. It just isn't, It really isn't. MSJ saying Dick looked decent in highlights, but our team is weak. Well, our summer league team is. I'm not willing to take any kind of judgment on the Raptors in general. Sometimes these kind of things matter, but in our case, they don't. It's not that we have a strong batch of young players coming up. We have a few draft picks. Our draft pick from last year, a second round pick, isn't even playing in this games. So it's like we're not really utilizing our very good talent that's on the Raptors. There's guys like Scottie, Jeff Doughton Jr. There's a lot of young guys on our team that are good that have nothing to do with summer league. So this is a bad team. Once again, I'm washing my hands of guys. Let me do my 3 stars real quick. Because there's honestly, there's certain guys I really was happy with last night, and there's a lot of guys I'm not still. Really not. And some of the guys I gave stars to, I don't want on this team still. Like I decided last night, I'm a big no to Moses Brown. I'm a big no to him. He is so bad in a couple of different ways. And he's even my second star again today. And I still think he's too bad to be on the Raptors, guys. My first star for last night is Mo Gueye. He came out and he was just another highlight reel of what he does really well. 5 of 8 from the field. He hit the only 3 he took, which I love, considering the Raptors only made 3 3-pointers yesterday. And that is disgustingly bad. 3 3-pointers out of 25 shots for 12%. That is a huge, gross thing. So thank you, Mo Gueye, for making 1 for 1, the only one you took. 4 or 5 at the free throw line, 3 offensive rebounds with 7 rebounds altogether, 3 assists, 1 steal, only 1 turnover, 15 points and a +2. Mo Gueye is definitely my number 1 star of the game. One of the things I really liked about Mo Gueye last night was one of those assists was in transition. He's been compared to Chris Boucher, but in some ways he has more skills than Chris. He's better handling the ball than Chris is already. And also in transition, he is a good passer. He made 1 pass up court to a teammate in transition that was beautiful and led to a really easy basket. So we're seeing a little bit more of what all he does. He didn't get a block last night, but we saw him very actively and aggressively attacking the rim. That one play in particular where he stepped around and he just threw it down. Super impressive. Highly recommend to Bobby and Masai that they two-way Mo Gueye. He is the only player in this summer league that I feel any confidence in certain ways, and it's felt like he has been quality the whole time. So Mo Gueye, my number 1 star. My second star is Moses Brown. He played okay, 5 of 7, 25 minutes, 3 of 5 from free throw line, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks, a +6 with 13 points. He played more than the last game, which was good. But also at the same time, I see how lazy he is. Moses Brown is so fucking lazy, guys. Like, listen, I get it. He's pretty quick to get up and down the court, and he gets up for offense. Like, he really tries hard to get offensive rebounds and put them back. And he is really good at like finishing with people around him with his such long arms. Even if people foul him, he still manages to put the ball in the hoop. But on defense, he sucks, y'all. He is absolutely not a rim protector. He does not actually move his legs when he's on defense. I saw guys go right around him and just lay it up. So he is not a defensive answer. In fact, he pisses me off so much about how lazy he is on defense. I do not want him on this team because he's a leader in that kind of way. He acts like that. That's part of the reason why we lose. That's part of the reason why these summer team leagues are losing, because he sets the tone of defensive intensity, and he has none. He literally is a Toreador, just a matador, just letting him come through. Oh, Ole, come on through and just score. He let that happen all kinds of ways last night. So, yeah, screw this guy. I don't want him on this team, Moses Brown. Y'all may be all crazy about him, but he sucks, y'all. Honestly, he sucks. I totally get it now. If he was, 7'2", he should be way better than this. He's worse. He's like Anthony Davis, but even worse is how I look at it. Anthony Davis could be so much better than he has been, and he's been more consistent recently. But at times, he's been such garbage. Well, in a lot of ways, Moses Brown has some of the same problems Anthony Davis has. Laziness for a very, very long person. And I hate that. I hate that so much. My third star is RJ Nembhard, who came in off the bench, and he played pretty solid. He had a lot of boneheaded plays too. It wasn't like he was super great either. He had 4 turnovers, and he was 4 for 7 from the field. He missed all 3 of his 3-point attempts. Perfect at the line. I like that. 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 13 points. RJ was a good spark off the bench, and he was balling. Like, at points, I really liked his energy and how he was putting it in the basket. But yeah, not really that impressive, and I wouldn't want him on the Raptors. It's just he had a decent little game. There's not really a whole lot. I'm not picking Gradey because, honestly, Gradey played a fantastic first half, but he played an absolute shit second half. And when it mattered the most, he was not good enough or clutch enough. And really, there was no excuse. It wasn't like anybody was near him. He had the shot wide open. That play when Moses Brown went to the lane, he was really smart. First of all, he could have dunked it like a knucklehead and just gotten 2 points, but he realized we needed 3. So he drew the defense, and he threw it over to Gradey in the corner, and all he needed to do was hit that 3, and it would have really helped us possibly win the game. But no, Gradey rimmed it out, and he was absolutely wide open. This is what I'm saying. You guys are known for 3-point shooting. Gradey and Joe Wieskamp, y'all need to make them. They didn't even waste any minutes on Joe Wieskamp or David Johnson yesterday. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for not putting those guys out there and sending them a message and letting some of these other guys get a chance. Yeah, not really impressed with what happened last night at all. Yeah, the stuff at the end of the game, the turnover and then the missed threes by Gradey, and then Markquis chucking big threes and not getting anywhere. Markquis wasn't that good last night either. 2 of 13 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3. He was perfect at the line, and I really did like the clutch three throws that he had on the fouled 3-pointer late. That was really impressive. I did like that. 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 4 turnovers, 9 points, a -9 plus minus. Yeah, Markquis Nowell in the last 2 games has not been as good as his debut. That's for sure. And we're starting to see some of the things. Like, what is happening with Markquis? He's trying to play like he's playing at Kansas State. And a lot of the things he used to get away with, like trick-wise, you can't do in the NBA. Guys are too long, and they will get the ball, and you won't be able to fool people or get away with doing some of this stuff. So you got to tighten up, Markquis Nowell, and stop trying to do some of the flashy stuff you could get away with in college. In the NBA, you won't be able to get away with it like that. And you really got to figure out which parts of your game you can't be risking like that anymore. And I see it. You're playing like college still. And you can't. This is the pros, bro. You can't do some of that stuff at that level. If you do, well, more power to you. But more times than not, you're not going to be successful. I can tell. Sheer Khan's here. Good morning to Sheer Khan. Good morning, Raptorsfreak family. I thoroughly enjoyed the game, even with the loss. It was an up and down affair, which usually is the case in these summer league games. Again, we should use this as an evaluation tool, and so far the three guys are it. Yeah, and I'm not even sure which three guys you mean. I'm pretty sure you mean Gradey and Markquis, and hopefully Mo Gueye. If you mean Moses Brown, I'm like, okay. But yeah, I mean, it really is. I don't see any value in anybody on this team except for the very few that we've kind of already anointed, like Gradey and Markquis. And then David O'Banner got in the game last night, and he's our Exhibit 10. So he's definitely going to be on our 905 team this year. And he's kind of an interesting player. He didn't have a great game or anything. He came out and had 9 minutes, 0 for 3, 0 for 3 from 3 on all shots. He is known for being a three-point shooter, but didn't look good last night. 1 rebound, 1 turnover, 0 points. So our Exhibit 10 getting out on the court last night. Looking at other guys from our team, Ron Harper Jr. has been a mixed bag. He really has been just very average and middle. 4 of 10 is much better than 2 of 10 in the last game. He missed all 3 of his threes again, so he's not hitting threes. 4 of 4 at the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 turnovers, a minus 21, the worst on our team, and 12 points. We had that one emphatic dunk in the second half, which was absolutely a fantastic highlight. He was trying. He was really working in there. He's done this the last 2 games where he seems like he's the only one who's trying to work within a system to try and help the team in certain ways. But in some ways, Ron really annoys me because I don't know. In some ways, I don't feel like he's good enough to play in the league. But in some ways, I feel like he may be. I don't know. I just don't think he's a winner. I don't know what it is about Ron Harper. But in some ways, I wouldn't be upset if he went away. Like if he went to another team or did something else. I don't care if he's on our 905. I definitely don't necessarily want to tie up one of our 2 ways on him. So some tough decisions are going to have to be made on Ron Harper Jr. and Joe Wieskamp. And I'll bet in some ways Ron's done enough that they're happy with him and they will continue to use him, but he'll only be on 905 this year. I don't think he'll get a 2-way. I think he'll end up being like David Johnson and he'll just be a straight up 905 player this season. It's too bad because he's close. If he could just be a little bit more consistent and a little bit more controlling of the game in some ways, he would be there. It's just his stats are very mid. He's just a very, very mid player in general. David McCormack pissed me off last night. He was playing very high energy, but very carelessly, and he sucked. Like, honestly, in some ways, he did some good things. He was setting good screens for Gradey, and he was a force as far as somebody ran into David McCormack. They were going to the ground. 4 offensive rebounds for him with 6 rebounds, 0 for 4, only 2 points from the free throw line, 2 blocks. That was nice. But for some reason, he was pissing me off too because he was kind of getting in the way of people. And he's just kind of a bulky guy that's slow. And he's kind of hard to, I don't know. I didn't like him. Like, I'm really not into David McCormack, anything or like that. And Morsel came in. Daryl Morsel came in for 10 minutes, got 4 points. He had that one play that was absolutely fantastic where he jumped up and took the pass out of the air. And Joe Dumars saw it. He was on the announce crew at that time. He's like, whoa, look at that. Look what happened. And he's like, he was speechless. And they were waiting for Joe to say something about it. But of course, Joe's not trained to be on a broadcast team. And it's really goofy and awkward, these broadcasts that the Summer League have been having. Joe Dumars, I love him. He's a legend. He's in charge of all the referees right now. He's absolutely a fantastic stand-up guy. In fact, I really enjoyed listening to him talk during the game yesterday. But he's not trained media-wise. And honestly, you could tell he's a little uncomfortable and kind of like there's a lot of dead air. And those guys didn't do him any help as far as like just letting things like go and stuff. It was a weird broadcast. But I love hearing what Joe said. Joe Dumars talking about how he wants to reward and encourage players to play all out and play hard. That he realized a couple of years ago, he saw the players kind of slacking and not really playing all out. And he doesn't like that. So he's told the referees it's very important to reward players with effort. If somebody's putting in effort, then give them the benefit of the doubt. And that's the way the NBA always was. Like when Joe played back then, guys who worked hard would get the benefit of the doubt. in the 50-50 calls. So that's what he's encouraging. Once again, he wants the referees to reward players that show effort on the court, and that's the way it should be. I loved hearing that from him. But once again, very, very awkward him in the broadcast booth. Not awkward like Isaiah was, fat shaming Nikola Jokic, but awkward in his own way. The bad boys backcourt being in the broadcast booth the last 2 games has been not a total success in some ways. And then the other thing they did with the broadcast last night, it was really weird that I had never seen before, is they mic'd and interviewed Jarrett Jack in the middle of the game while he was coaching the game. And you could tell he was annoyed. That did not work, y'all. Maybe y'all were trying to be interesting and insightful, but you asking him questions while he's trying to yell at the players in the court, very awkward, very cringe, and kind of like, I wish you would leave him alone. In fact, we started kicking their ass when he was distracted, putting a headpiece on and trying to talk to those guys at the same time. They didn't know how to talk to him. It was like, oh, maybe we shouldn't talk to him right now because he's trying to coach. So it's very awkward, weird broadcast, maybe not the smartest decision. If I was Jarrett Jack, I would have not agreed to do it, because honestly, this is like a tryout for him as a coach. And in some ways, it was interesting to hear what he says when he's coaching, when he's yelling at those guys, but in some ways very awkward and not fair to the Detroit Pistons in that time that their coach had to go and do broadcasts at the same time. I've never seen that before. And I hope I never see it again, because it's not fair and it's messed up. And he can't do 2 things at once. And he's not really a broadcaster. So he's going to be like, you're asking him questions like, hold on, I need to yell something at one of the players right now. Yeah, that was so awkward and really a dumb idea. I get it. They've been miking players. They mic different people around the game and they want to show it. But live, while he's trying to do it, it just doesn't work. It just does not work. So, yeah, what a weird game last night. Very, very weird. A lot of hope. I felt good in the middle of it. I was having fun watching it. And then, of course, right at the end of the game, they disappoint me and show me like failure. And I hate that. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam. Despite the L, I saw glimpses of progress, slowly but surely. It's lessons learned for those who missed great potential plays or caused turnovers. Yes. Tape to watch, and always remember, Gradey, you will remember that NBA players are slick like that. And somebody like Sasser or somebody that will steal the ball from you if you're not absolutely careful. I don't understand why you had the ball at that point anyway. You should have given it to Markquis to let him bring the ball up the court. I don't know. We can second guess that last little part in all kinds of different ways. Man, it just sucks. But I agree with Fiercey. There's flashes of stuff. There's a little bit of learning lessons in what happens with young players. Then hopefully we'll see more and more progress. It's definitely Gradey looks better every game since. Like the first game, second game, okay, a little better. This game, a lot better. I mean, let me get in depth with what Gradey did last night, because in some ways he did actually have a really good game. 8 of 19 from the field. His shooting got worse as the game went on, and that sucks because he started really well, and he was showing both ways he can score. He made a couple threes, but it was really like inside, like driving to the hoop and laying it up. He had that one play where he went around Thompson, but it was really kind of like Thompson just gave up on playing defense at that moment and let Gradey go by him. 8 of 19, 2 of 10 from 3. That's a number that I don't like. The fact that we only shot 12% from 3 and he hit 2 of the 3 threes, and that's it. Everybody else was absolute shit. 0 for 5 for Noel, 0 for 3 for Iran, 0 for 3 for O'Banner, 0 for 3 for RJ. Yeah, that's crazy. That's 0 for 14 from 4 guys, and then Gradey 2 of 10, and then Mo Gueye get 1 for 1. The 3-point shooting was absolutely dreadful, and Gradey could have helped that. I like that he made all 4 of his free throws. The free throw shooting was pretty good by most of the important guys. The crappier guys, the guys that don't matter, they weren't making free throws. And Gradey, 7 rebounds. That shows that he gets down there and mixes it up. He's definitely putting in effort, and he's definitely hustling all over the place. One of the things I didn't like about Gradey's game last night was he was definitely capitalized as a defensive liability. We saw right from the beginning of the game, what should we call it, Rodin, going right at him and bombing threes and scoring on him pretty easily. That was annoying. Like Gradey looked like a defensive liability right from the start of the game. And I hated that. In some ways, he's going to have to really work hard on defense because these guys are going to rip him up if he's not really on his toes and with it. He's going to have to use this really a lot if he's going to be a good defender in the NBA. Let's see. 4 turnovers. I did not like seeing Gradey get so many turnovers, 22 points. It's tough, man, because like honestly, he was a defensive liability. He was not showing clutch late when he had wide open threes, and he had the most egregious turnover of the game. A lot of the turnovers in the game were really sloppy and kind of screwy. Like looking at the team stats, we shot really bad, 40%, like 30 of 75. We did get one more field goal than them, attempt than them. 3 for 25 from 3, absolutely dreadful. 27 of 34 at free throw line. That's pretty good. We got the line a lot, which was nice. We did out rebound them, and we had 15 offensive rebounds. They got way more assists, but the turnovers really bad. 21 turnovers plus 5 in turnovers over their 16, and they had 18 steals. That was a big factor for why the Pistons won. Stealing the ball from us and not protecting the ball enough. They got in the passing lanes. They came and picked our pockets. They stole the ball a lot. That is 18 steals is crazy. And that was the huge stat that absolutely probably killed us was the 18 steals on us. So just a tough game. It's an L. It is what it is. It's summer league. Iceman Like Urban's here. Good morning to Iceman Like Urban. I'm glad that Gradey finally had a decent game scoring wise. Hopefully he will string together some more good outings to end summer league and avoid getting injured like Keontae George, who twisted his ankle. Okay, so George got hurt. I don't like hearing that. I don't like hearing that at all. Listen, the jury's out on Gradey. Some people may be very much like, why do we pick him instead of some of the other guys? But let's not give up on him yet. There's some signs that really show that there's a certain aptitude and skill level with his shooting that if he can just get his legs under him and dial it in, he could end up being a very steady, sound three-point shooter night in, night out. So hopefully he just finds consistency and take these next opportunities to be a winner and win the game and win. That's what I'm saying, Gradey. That's the thing you're going to have to look at is like how you could have made those shots late that you just barely missed. Where were they when it gone in? What did you do with your form and what happened? G saying impressive Gradey didn't depend on just shooting. He was driving to the net and showing some athleticism too. Yeah, he had to. Ron in his interview after the game was saying, Coach keeps telling me to stop shooting the three and just go to the basket. You're not making any threes. You better go to the basket if you're going to score any points, Ron Harper Jr. Yeah, they had to because these guys have been so cold at three. The stats for our three-point shooting at Summer League just don't make sense to me, considering the pedigree of the three-point shooters that are on our Summer League roster. This is messed up. Joe Wieskamp, Grady Dick, David Johnson, Markquis Noel. These guys were known for being really good three-point shooters in college, like really good three-point shooters. And they all sucked for the most part. Gradey, kind of the one that's been the best in a lot of ways as far as our three-point shooting. But yeah, I'm like surprised how badly we've done at threes. We had going in when I scouted the team, I was like, holy crap, we should be bombing threes and making them like crazy. Well, it's just not translated. It has not. G saying impressive Gradey. Okay, yeah, I read that one. Monique is here. Good to see the super fan. Monique Lawrence, the greatest. Good morning, everyone. Happy for Dennis. That interview was great. Matty D on a scooter. That's right. Matt Devlin at Global Jam with the scooter thing, pushing himself around, making it to work. So we know he's going to be making it for the fall for everything. So if he can make it a Global Jam right now, well, we know he'll be ready for the season when it starts. I love seeing Matty D at the Global Jam on the first day of Global Jam yesterday. And there's some more games today. And then Saturday and Sunday. I believe they take Friday off. Very, very good stuff with Dennis Schroder finally signing his contract yesterday and doing his press conference with the press. Very interesting things said by Schroder. He really does see himself as coming in to be a leader and point guard in whatever capacity Darko wants him to have. It's very clear that he has a lot of trust in Darko because it was revealed that Darko was the one reached out to Dennis Schroder and asked him to come to the Raptors. He called him himself. And this is really from their relationship previously in Oklahoma City, that Dennis really likes Darko. In fact, he really pumped him up, talking about who he was and what he's going to do. Some of the press asked him, "Well, if you know Darko so well, can you tell us what he's going to do with our team?" And he said, basically, that he's going to hold people accountable, like for playing at a high level, and that he will keep people together in unity. That those are the two things really Dennis said the most as far as like characteristics about Darko that he really is good at. So this is fantastic. If he's going to be able to hold people accountable and keep the team together, that's going to be really important for this year. Now, Dennis was kind of like giving overtures that he wants to start. He definitely wants to start, but if he doesn't start, it's not a big deal. But he wants to be a leader, a vocal leader. And I think on the down low, he will end up being one of the most important leaders for our team this year. You know, the more I think about Scottie and the leadership stuff, I think that in some ways, Scott needs to do this. Sure, he can be a vocal leader and push people and tell people to make their assignments and kind of be accountable person like on the court because he's good at that. I've seen him do this with NBA 2K last year. But in some ways, what we want Scottie to be a leader on is by example. If Scott, you really want to be a leader of the Raptors, well, go out there and play like a leader. Win games in clutch. Go and carry the team on your back. I've said recently, I don't really see you as a number one option kind of guy. I see you more as a passer, kind of complimentary glue guy that is absolutely a superstar, but not necessarily like a Siakam kind of number one, like the guy who gets the ball to them mostly. It's like you can find your stuff in between and actually set up the other guys around you. But in some ways, I want Scott to take over games in late game situations and enforce his will on the game to get W's for the Toronto Raptors. That is the best way you can be a leader. So, Scott, I'm just going to think when you say you want to be a leader, that means you want to win games and be that clutch guy that carries us on your back towards winning. In some ways, I don't totally trust your leadership from experience. I think that's the difference. Whereas Dennis Schroder has a lot of great experience in the NBA. As he said, he's been playing with Hall of Famers the last couple years. He's been playing with LeBron. He's been playing with Russell Westbrook. He's been playing with the Celtics even, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So he's been around a lot of really top level players. And in some ways, that kind of knowledge of playing with LeBron just last year is really kind of attractive to somebody like Scottie and the other young Raptors, because he can very much say, well, this is what LeBron and I would have done last year on the Lakers in this situation. Scottie will be like, okay, maybe I will do that, Dennis. I'll be like LeBron on this play. Yeah, do what LeBron did, Scottie. Okay, all right, because we're really got to figure out this leadership puzzle for the Raptors this year. And I really do think Dennis is in some ways, because of his relationship with Darko already, he may be that extension of Darko on the court. And that's part of the reason why Darko was so wanting to get him immediately when Fred left. That's what the point guard is a lot of times. Like Nick Nurse's extension on the court was Fred. Well, Darko's extension on the court is going to be Dennis Schroder, and somebody he trusts and who trusts him back. Like he really likes Darko a lot. You can tell the way he talked about him. He has full confidence in him, and he thinks that he's a really good coach. That says a lot about Darko, that his reputation precedes him like that, and that players that played with him years ago are still loyal and like him a lot, like Schroder does. So really good, well-spoken press conference with Dennis Schroder. I really like this guy a lot. In fact, he may become one of my favorite Raptors very, very quickly this season. It's just a mix of how he plays, that dog in him. You know, there's some stats about him being very clutch in moments for the Lakers last year. In fact, he has some of the best shooting in clutch moments. So this is all good. This is very, very good. So I hope that the Raptors will allow the new Raptors to come in and take some responsibilities. Dennis Schroder, Jalen McDaniels. I want to see these guys contribute, and I want them to make room for them to come in and contribute. Now, I don't want Schroder to try and average like 20 points a game. No, I'd rather him be around 10 points, but he's getting like 7 assists. He's really setting people up. But Schroeder's smart enough to understand when to go and not to go, as far as when he should be taking the shot, when he shouldn't. And he should be really looking to set people up more than him taking shots. that we just have such good offensive weapons and talented guys like OG and Pascal and Scottie that, that's what his role should be primarily. But, he has to keep things honest, and he will hit a three from here time to time. And he's actually a very excellent 3-point shooter. So, man, this is going to be interesting. The whole stew of the Raptors this year is very different than last year's stew, and we'll have to see how it tastes. All right, let's see. Shere Khan saying Moses can rebound, protect the rim, and catch lobs. Mark can dime and be a pest on D, and Gradey has the shooting stroke comparable to Hero, Booker, and Clay. Dumars even corrected himself on his stroke when fouled. Yeah, that was an interesting part when Joe Dumars was talking about the kick out with Grady's shooting form. When he put his leg out, he's like, okay, I'm going to have to watch him and see if he does that naturally on other shots later in the game. Or is he trying to kick it out like James Harden used to, or Trae Young? That whole rule change from a couple years ago. Well, he saw that Gradey does naturally shoot that way, and that wasn't an unnatural move by Gradey. So they've already got a scout on Gradey now. Joe Dumars himself in charge of the referees. Those refs were weird last night. There's something about Summer League where they are not as strict. Gradey actually traveled on one play where he made a shot. The one where he kind of bobbled the ball, they didn't actually hit the ball out of his hands. He lost it in the air and then grabbed it again and then took a couple of steps and made that one of the first baskets he made. That was actually a travel, but they didn't call it. But Ausar Thompson also traveled when he did that little tippy toe thing in the middle of the lane, and he still kept the shot. They said it in the broadcast. Corey Benjamin saying, Corey Alexander saying, yeah, he traveled right there, but they didn't call it. And then, of course, Gradey was backcourt on that half-court play, but they let it call. They're very nice. Let's just put it that way. The Summer League refereeing is very nice, and they're not calling shit in certain places because they're like, yeah, this would just be kind of looking ugly and like this. I really do think that both of those guys traveled at those times, and Gradey was backcourt when he caught that one play and went to the hoop. Yeah, see, the refs are really kind to them right now. It's really weird. Trevor J saying, I love my Raptors team. I'm a real one. There you go, Trevor. I love that. That's a Raptor freak motto right there. You love your Raptors. It doesn't matter. We're going to win. I hope we win. We want to win. But if the team is having a tough year, we're going to be there for them no matter what. And that's what a real fan does. David saying, Brandon Miller played well in the game against San Antonio. It's weird. He's had a couple good games, but he's also fouled out a lot. Like, he's fouled a lot. I don't know. I'm not impressed with him. I'm going to be a hater. In a lot of ways, I can be very much a hater if it's not Raptors. And I'm going to be a hater towards him because, yeah. And even Chet. I don't care how good Chet's doing right now in Summer League. I still think he's going to be a bust when everything's said and done. G saying Thompson was very good. He hustles on defense, too. No, he's a great, solid player all around. His fundamentals are outstanding, and he is an all-around player. In fact, between the two brothers, he's the one who's less good. Almond's better than him. Well, those guys are very, very good. Yeah, Thompson twins are very much like you could tell that they were really invested in teaching how to play the game right. And whenever I hear an interview with one of them, they just seem like they have the right head on their shoulders, and they're really, really smart about their careers. Man, that Detroit team's going to be nasty. It's going to be very scary this year. Looking at that murderer's row of guys who didn't play last night, like Isaiah Stewart and the rest of them all sitting in a row, yeah, they're going to be a problem. And with Monty Williams as a coach now, this could be a different kind of team because Casey was kind of more a development guy, kind of like holding them back in some ways because it's like we wanted to get like Wemby. But this year, they're going to be going full throttle, and they're going to be trying to win a lot. And these guys are serious. Like, I worry about this team, Detroit and Orlando, because they're kind of in similar places. They're about to bust up with like overwhelmingly burgeoning talent that is getting a lot better. It's going to be, I hate it. I hate seeing it. And in some ways, we're kind of like Chicago. We're in the same kind of like in a bad place, kind of not in the right place in some ways. I can see that in some ways. I hate it. Wayne's here. Good to see Wayne. We were looking bad and fought back hard, and then we relaxed and went into hero mode. Nembhard was doing well and just got clumsy. Moses Brown's flaws were evident, but he can be developed. Harper was better. Yeah, I can agree with most of this for sure. Yeah, we fought back and we did relax. That's the thing. We had a 17-point lead and they could have managed it and done a better job of keeping that lead up over them, but they didn't. In some ways, it's kind of like one of these moments where, like, all right, we won the game. It's only the second quarter. What are you doing? You can't just relax and act like you just won the game just because you're absolutely outplaying them for a quarter. No, that is too early. And I definitely felt that they kind of relaxed and they're like, okay, we're good. We're good. And then that boom, Detroit's back on your ass. Nembhard was interesting. He was clumsy at times, but he was very effective at times also. I wish he had made some of his threes. This would have made things a lot better for him. But yeah, I'm passing on these guys. And Moses, I don't care. He's developed to this point in 4 years. That's what I'm saying. He's not a youngster. He's the oldest player on our G League, our summer league team. And he's only to this point, he's really fundamentally bad in certain ways still. They're making fun of how he shoots his free throws on Twitter today. Because seriously, they got a really weird angle on one of his free throws last night. And it really does look like he's throwing a pitch in baseball, but up high. He's like throwing it like that. It's like really weird how he shoots it. And they're kind of making fun of him for it. He did make them, though. I have to give him credit. Some of them he made, even though it looks so crazy. His delivery, his form on his free throw shot is absolutely weird. I don't know. Like, it used to be, you'd see somebody like Bill Cartwright shoot the free throw like way over here, like this. And I'm like, that's a really weird free throw shooter. Or you can even think about Rick Barry shooting underhanded way back in the 70s. Well, this motherfucker, this is a whole other evolution of free throw shooting. And in some ways, I don't get it. Like, seriously, why are you guys doing this? Who's the coach that's teaching him the method of shooting a free throw like that? Seriously, they in some ways should be fired. Like, why wouldn't you just try and get him to shoot in a normal way? Why is he shooting a spin way like, whoa, like that? I have no idea what's going on with Moses Brown and his his free throws. Absolutely weird. I will agree. Ron was better in this game, and he definitely had that highlight dunk. He said at the end after the game, he said, I really wanted that dunk. I've had a lot of frustration in Summer League, and I wanted to work some of it out. You got that good highlight. In fact, I was really surprised you did that. In some ways, I was like, holy crap, did he just do what I thought he did? He was really motivated in that moment. Well, can we see that more consistently, Ron Harper Jr.? That would be fantastic. Monique saying, keep at it, Gradey. Yeah. Learn from your mistakes. You're still so young, 19. You're going to need to get more of an NBA body. You're going to have to learn. The big difference is with the NBA and what you've been already. This isn't Kansas anymore, Toto. You're going to definitely need to figure this shit out and get better and better because it's not going to be easy. And you're going to have to do a lot to get there. Oh my gosh. All right, let's see. No. All right. I love seeing how much y'all have all filled it up today. I will make sure I get to everybody's comments. Yeah, but keep at it, Gradey. Watch your film and learn from it. Randolph Phillips is here. Good morning, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. Listening in the background to all the freaks, news, and opinions. Thank you, Randolph. We appreciate you, and blessings right back to the Phillips family and all your friends and everybody in your life, even the good and the bad ones. Everybody. That's right. We appreciate you, Mr. Phillips. Shir Khan saying the scouting report posted a great highlight reel of Gradey Dick's entire game. Most of his three-point misses were at the end of the clock bailout shots. His clutch is going to improve over time. Top shooter in the draft. I hope you're right. I really do hope you're right. Guys get hot and cold at different times. Gradey has a different learning curve. Some guys may have came into Summer League really hot, like Keontae George, and boom, they look really, really good. But let's see what it is over time, the consistency and how he dials it in, how he gets his legs underneath him. He finds his rhythm. Him making shots already without having really a rhythm or anything like that is a good sign for sure. And great. I'll have to go check out that scouting report highlight reel of him. MSJ saying, I can't see Gradey Dick being anything more than a guy off the bench this year. He needs a year to get stronger and such. I see him as a year away from being truly impactful. I hope he averages 8 this year. I agree with this. I think that we really do need to temper our expectations with him. In some ways, we don't need him as much on the higher level as we do on the 905 this year. I'd really like to see him absolutely kill it in 905 and really get good stats down there. I think you're exactly right. I think we all need to really temper our expectations for what Gradey Dick will contribute to the Maine Raptors. Stargate, good morning to you. Kilimanjaro saying, what are your thoughts on Ron Harper Jr.? Even when we got him as a two-way after the draft, undrafted last year, I was like, okay, all right, I like this. It's his dad played; he's really good. I could see where this guy may be pretty good. But every single thing I've seen Ron do, like last summer league, he didn't do anything. He really, really didn't do anything. And then during the season, all right, didn't do anything on the main Raptors roster. But in G League, he was an important leader on the G League team last year. And he showed different parts of like being a leader on that team at different times with different success. Now he's trying to do a bit of that right now in the summer league with success and failure. There's sometimes where he steps up and he's absolutely a ball of energy and he does some really good winning play, but there's not enough of it and it's just not consistent enough. And the one thing I will say about Ron Harper Jr. is you're doing this at this level of competition. I don't see you being able to do anything at the main level. And that's the problem. That's the problem right there is there's levels to how intense these games are. And Summer League is the bottom level. It's the biggest joke of them all because in some ways the intensity it's not right and there's all kinds of different things about it. Where Summer League is not actually as competitive as G League or not as organized. Sure, some of the talent coming in as some rookies that will not see G League are playing in Summer League. But overall, the people who are on Summer League rosters are not as talented as the people who are on G League rosters. So there's levels to this. And in some ways, you could say, well, Ron, after doing so much on G League last year, he should be killing it in Summer League right now. He should absolutely be killing it. He should be consistent. He should be showing an example for the other guys. He should be averaging 20 points in the summer league, but he's not. He's missing a lot, and he's playing good all round stuff. He's stuff in the stat sheet, but he's not scoring consistently the right way, and that annoys me. In some ways, I kind of want him to just go. I'm sick of. I really hate the way that Joe Weezy and David Johnson and to a certain degree, Ron Harper has looked at summer league. Yeah. Cowboy saying, good morning, Lex and the Raptor Freaks. Good morning, Cowboy. Bam. Good to see you, Bradley. Monique saying, Raptors always. That's right, Monique. In your heart, it beats every day with the Raptors red going through it. That's right. Fiercely saying, Mo Gueye gives me glimpses of Chris Boucher. He definitely does. He definitely does. He's so well spoken. They talk to him after the game, and he's just got a fresh attitude. And like, I just really like his personality. Like, y'all watch an interview with Mo Gueye and you'll be like, I like this guy. He's pretty cool. And like, I totally think he's a home run. Like, seriously, Bobby Masai, don't mess around. This is just like last year what I was saying about Jeff Doughton Jr. Don't mess around. Get Mo Gueye on a two-way. Do it. Just do it. He's a good prospect to have on our team. He's got a great motor. He's giving great effort. He's showing more consistency than most of this summer league roster. I mean, I love the threes he can make. And I love that he can dribble and transition. Like, he looked like he could actually bring the ball up the court like a point guard. I'd trust him more than Boucher doing it than Chris. I mean, he actually showed chops of passing in transition with a really accurate pass to Moses Brown and him getting an easy layup in transition. So there's a lot to like about Mo Gueye. Of course, he's similar to Chris, whereas he's going to need to fill out. He's definitely too skinny, and he'll be able to be pushed around. But we've had great success with Chris Boucher and developing him further. We could do the same thing with Mo Gueye. And it's not that we want a replacement for Chris. It's just that we want another player in his kind of ilk. Because once again, we talked about this week, scarcity in kind of types of players. And Division 6-9 is kind of getting the market on those kind of players and dictating it for the whole NBA. And that's part of the reason why the noise about Pascal and OG is constant, is because we recognize a scarcity in this league and we have hoarded it. And that's why everybody's asking the Raptors for our guys. That's really smart for leverage and power in this league, what Bobby and Masai did. So Mo Gueye would be the next guy that would be this kind of guy. And that's why I really like him. And I highly recommend Raptors front office, give him one of those two ways. Put him on there with Markquis Noel. Fun Guy's saying, yo, I have to flip-flop hard again. I was down on Grady Dick, but nah, yesterday he showed me that potential I was doubting he had. He looks good with a motor and some smooth skills. We're going back and forth in different ways. It's weird. You're feeling good about him today. And in some ways, I'm feeling worse about him today. It's like we're flip flopping opposite at different times. It's hilarious. I have flip flopped on him a couple times too. I mean, I didn't recommend that we draft him in the beginning. And I hate, like, I'm really good at judging talent in the NBA. Like, seriously, I should be going down there and helping them. Seriously. I know that sounds really egotistical, but a lot of the things that I saw about Gradey are true in some ways, and he's going to have to overcome them. I think he will, though. That's the thing. I may be not totally right because I don't see the path for him to overcoming them, but I think he will. I really do think he will because he's really smart. He has the drive, and he wants to. That's why he'll do it. But yeah, all right. I like that Fun Guy has less doubt in him, even though I have more doubt in him from yesterday. Shere Khan saying Detroit was using their best prospects in the first 2 games. Of course, they are going to be good with the talent level showcased. Raptors are trying to find replacements for Thad, Otto, and possibly Boucher. I don't like this comment, Shere Khan. Usually I love your comments, but today I do not like your comment here. They did sit out all their best young players, and they absolutely would have mopped the floor with us if Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren and those guys had been out there also. Yeah, we were lucky that they didn't have all those guys out there for sure. I don't think that they're trying to replace Thad, Otto, and Boucher. I really don't. I think that in some ways these guys are coming back, especially Otto. I think they're going to give Otto a chance, and Chris too. Thad could get moved. I could see them doing something with Thaddeus, but for the most part, I don't know. I don't know, Shirkan. I'm very anti-moving Boucher in any kind of way. I really do not want Chris going anywhere. Trevor's saying, I like what Dennis said on his interview that Coach Darko put him to work as soon as he got there. Yeah. Yeah. Listen, there is an immense respect already between one of our newest Raptors and our new coach. And I like that. We need people that they trust each other. Like Dennis trusts Darko and Darko trusts Dennis. And in a lot of ways, you need the coach to trust your point guard. And if they have already a working relationship from before, well, that will make things a lot smoother and easier. Dennis Schroder is actually an amazing pro. He has some really interesting stories from his background. He lost his father when he was 16, and that really, really changed his life. Does this sound familiar? Does it really? Yeah. He lost his father at 16, and he wasn't taking life very seriously up to that point. He was very much more into skateboarding at that time. In fact, he was doing, Monique shared a very excellent article about Dennis a couple days ago, and it's just fantastic. He was doing a lot of very dangerous tricks in skateboarding at the time. In fact, stuff that could have paralyzed him, stuff that if he had fallen or hurt himself, he could have, ended his professional career possibilities. So his father died, and it was very sudden and weird. It was like he was supposed to come do something. He didn't do it, and they were like wondering what's going on. And then all of a sudden he found out his dad had died. He got really serious about his life after that point. And I think his father had very intense wishes for him to do something with his life in basketball. So it's a similar thing to Siakam. So it's like, I'm doing it for him. I'm doing it for him. And Schroder, like, he changed like a light switch after his father died. He was very much a wild child who didn't care. He was a skateboarder, and he just was like very risky, and he got super focused, like laser focused. And it's really interesting because he grew up in Germany, right? And he was one of 2 black guys in his school, like nobody else. And he did deal with racism and weirdness because of being such a stark minority in certain situations. And then even when he was coming up the ranks in Germany in the basketball scene, he was met with some very racist kind of messed up stuff, but he persevered and he overcame it. He has a really kind of warrior mentality. Like, he will take you to you. Like, he's aggressive, and he is who he is. As he said, he leaves it all on the court. He doesn't want to leave anything. He wants to feel like he has played his last game on earth. And that's the way he plays every single game. Is like, this may be the last game I ever play, and he plays his ass off. I love that about him. And it speaks to, because like his story, like people did not believe in him. They didn't think he would get as far as he's gotten. And the fact that he's a 10-year NBA pro going into his 11th year this year, it speaks a lot to his work ethic and his drive and his ability to overcome people limiting him with their own perception. That's kind of similar to Fred. Dennis was not chosen to get to like the level he is as far as what he's important to the German national team. let alone like anything. So there's some really interesting things about Dennis Schroeder's success story that y'all will find out as we get to know him even more. That there's a lot of parallels with him and Pascal with their father passing right around the same age or same time, in like the impact of how that had an influence on how he plays and how serious he takes it. So that's really interesting to me. Really, really interesting to me. Cool Cat saying, Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. That's the result of young teams. That's right. They don't know what they're doing. They just don't know what they're doing. Markquis Noel was interesting after the game. He's kind of like, you win some, you lose some. I don't know if I like that shot for the last shot in the game. I know you're just trying to be a hero. He's chucking some of these Steph Curry kind of shots in this game last night, and they just didn't look good. Markquis, man, seriously, you got to get those other guys. In some ways, we don't want the 5'7" guy taking the big, huge shot at the end of the game to try and win the game. That's not the best option. The best option is, and I know that Pat Delany called it for you, and that's kind of his fault, but yeah. I didn't like the way the look we got at the end of the game. Delany said he was happy with it. He's like, well, we got a good look. We got what we wanted, but he just didn't go in. I was like, y'all were already down by 4-2 at that point. It's kind of, all right, let's see. MSJ saying, I kind of see Moses Brown as a guy who moves badly on defense, too slow and just unable to stop anyone. He can play on the boards and get some baskets, but not a good plus-minus player. Yeah, this is what I see exactly too, MSJ. He's lazy on the defensive end, but he's very aggressive on the offensive end. That speaks a lot to him, seriously. Like, he has no pride on the defensive end, and that's a big problem. You got that frame, you got that length, but you still can't protect the paint. Guys are coming in and laying up around you. That's a big sign of like, yeah, this dude's nowhere near as good as Koloko. Trust me. Seriously. Koloko's a way, way better player, and he's going to be so much better this year. Watch. And Moses Brown is like, yeah, he's a waste. We do not need Moses Brown on our team. In fact, I would be worried about him being on our team and giving bad habits to our guys. Seriously. He like comes up to Koloko and he says, hey, let me show you how to shoot free throws. And Koloko's like, what? Okay, what? So like, why are you teaching him how to shoot free throws of all people? And what if he's teaching him how to play defense, like actively? Yeah, we don't want this guy teaching our young guys. Seriously. Moses, we don't want him around. Seriously. Iceman saying, Dennis, he's quoting Dennis Schroeder. I have proven over the years I can be a starting point guard. And with those young guys who are really talented, Scottie, OG, and the other guys, I think we can be competitive, and that's what I'm about. Yeah, it's a really underrated move. Fred leaves, and getting Schroeder right away, it was like, I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, because this dude, seriously, he's played in big playoff games. He's played with some of the best players in the NBA. He's, he's been like doggedly, consistently a menace on the court. Dennis the Menace means something. That dude, people hate having to play against him because he is so annoying. This is all things that I love about him. And he's going to be a lot of fun. I want to see him go out for the Raptors. And I can't wait for more YouTube content either. So it's going to be fun. He's very competitive. He ain't fucking around. And he has a certain level of play he likes to play at. And he said yesterday that he was going to hold people accountable to the level of play that everybody should be playing at. And he holds a high standard for himself. And he said, I'm not going to ask other guys not to do what I wouldn't do myself. So he's very much coming in as a standard bearer for high energy, all out play. And if you are not working as hard as Dennis, he may let you know about it. Seriously, he may let you know about it. Sheer Constant, I hate that it has come to this. I love Boucher, but I'm afraid he might become a victim of circumstance. We have a long way to go till training camp, but I think Mo Gueye is going to be there. Joe is out. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I don't feel good about Joe Wieskamp. Let's see if he gets to even play today. That's right. Y'all were playing at 5 o'clock today. Even earlier, 5 p.m. Tip for Brooklyn Nets, Toronto Raptors. I got the preview. I'll switch to it in just a sec. We'll do a natural transition from the game yesterday to previewing today. Yeah, I think Joe Wieskamp does not need a roster spot on the Raptors this year. I really do not think he does. Mo Gueye can get one of those 2 ways. That doesn't even count for Joe's roster spot. So what if we go out and we get somebody else that's not even involved in Summer League? I like that. I kind of like that at this point. The only one I really want to keep that we don't have under any contract right now is Mo Gueye. The other guys are already taken care of, and the rest of them can just go on with the rest of their lives and go on to the next thing. as far as I'm concerned. Monique saying, see how fast Open Gym is with the Dennis clips up next? Yeah, they're pretty quick, but I don't know who's quicker, Monique, Dennis Schroeder's YouTube channel or Open Gym. They were both putting those clips up around the same time. In fact, I think Schroeder put out the OG clip before the OG clip came out on Raptors Official. But yeah, it's not a race, but I think Dennis's channel is much faster at getting things done. It could very well be his right-hand man, Joel, is very much on it and doing it quickly for Dennis and his brand and being who he is and stuff. Dennis is a cool guy. I really like him already, like a lot. Jimmy's saying, what up, family? Good to see Gradey get some buckets. I'm excited to see him in the full program with all the guys. He makes the right plays. He will benefit big time. Yeah, know your role. Seriously, Gradey, you're really going to need to work within your role, and we will help you start to define it with the better quality of talent around you, like Scottie Barnes. Yeah, hopefully Scottie can really help you. I really do hope that Gradey and Scottie have a natural chemistry and just a really cool tandem. Like they've already said they kind of want to do this. Gradey said if we can become a known duo in the league over time because of our chemistry and just how well Scott sets me up. We've not seen these guys play together yet at all. And we are just hoping that there's a natural chemistry and like a connection between the two of them that can be very, very fruitful for amazing things on the Raptors offense in the years to come. I'd love to see this. Like Gradey wants to cultivate a personal, special relationship with Scottie on the basketball court. Oh, yeah. Let's see if Scott can really learn Gradey and how to get him the ball so he can get tons of assists and vice versa. I want to see Gradey set up Scottie too. So, yeah, it would be very interesting to see those two as a pair and just how quickly they gel. Well, hopefully it happens easier and quickly, but who knows? There may be some learning curves and stuff like that. Nameless is saying it's so encouraging to see the talent perform that Markquis Nowell has. That talent platform that Markquis Nowell has, especially if you think where Fred started and how he finished. Yeah. In some ways, like, all right, Fred was overwhelmingly good, sure, right away. Like he did have a pretty good summer league right away. And what he did in 905 right away was just outstanding. This is what Markquis has got to do. Seriously, you're going to do it a little bit differently than Fred. Hopefully you'll have more passing in your game. And you won't be trying to take over the game so much and trying to win it at the end. In some ways, I do not want that from a short point guard anymore. I really do want you to go and watch Damon Stoudemire at the very beginning, and you can be like him, more like him than Fred. That would be good because Damon was so good at passing and assists, and I know that's a strong suit for you, Noel. That may be your best strength is your vision. Your vision is absolutely fantastic. So hopefully we will see more of that going on. And man, 905 is going to be fun to watch this year. Hopefully these guys really get good chemistry, Noel and Gradey, and there's just all kinds of good stuff happening. Monique saying, fine, Lex, if not Moses Brown or Mo Gueye. Yeah, I'm just not big on Moses Brown. I know everybody wanted him around and stuff like that, but I get it. I get why nobody's keeping him on teams anymore. Why he goes from one team to the next team to the next team to the next team, and nobody values him and tries to keep him around. I get it. I completely get it. Even after a game like yesterday, I've consistently made him the second star in all three of our summer league games, but I still don't think he's good enough to make our Raptors. Mo Gueye, yes, I do think he's good enough. He has a lot of promise. He fills out and he gets stronger. He could be very, very good in this league. He's showing certain skills, and motor is something you can't teach. And effort. This guy has a lot of effort. He's putting it all out on the court. I love seeing that kind of stuff. Mo Gueye, get him right now, Bobby. Denial saying, I think you're being a bit hard on Gradey. He's still young, and this is his first introduction to pros. I think he'll be fine. I'm really curious why we aren't seeing Desmond Cambridge Jr. yet. No good. Well, we'll probably see him today. It's kind of like they kind of schedule out when the guys will get in. We did see a couple guys that didn't get to play as much. O'Banner last night. But yeah, who's left that really hasn't gotten to play? JT Shumat and Desmond Cambridge Jr. Really, that's it. The other guys have all kind of gotten to play at different times. So those two guys need to get in and play either today or in the last game that we'll have this weekend. So we do have two more summer league games no matter what. The game this weekend will be a consolation bracket, kind of like loser versus loser game. So maybe in that game we can play one of the other teams that didn't win any games, and we can kick their butt. In fact, it's lining up. It could end up being somebody like the Golden State Warriors or Denver, the champions, or Orlando or Charlotte. Those are all the 0-3 teams. Boston did finally win a summer league game. Yeah, we'll have to see if Cambridge gets in. I'd like to see him also. Like I said, we have not seen him yet. Jimmy's saying, I think Noel is too small. I wish the best for the guy, but it'll be really hard for him in this league. Well, he's really going to have to play like Muggsy. He's going to have to play at another level, at another speed, and have to be absolutely tireless. And he's showing that he can possibly do it to a degree, but we'll see. We'll see. With all within good time. We got to remember the steps and how long it took Fred to get to each step. Well, it's going to take a few years for Markquis Noel to possibly become an NBA player. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. MSJ saying Ron Harper is another one. He has flashes, but just not engaged enough. He seems a bit heavy and can't seem to keep his motor going all game. But I think only Dick will truly make the team. Maybe Markquis Noel. Well, Noel's a two-way. So he'll get to play in an NBA game on the Raptors for sure. I'm pretty sure he'll get to play at least the game or two. I mean, Ron did last year. So he will probably get to play in the NBA for a little bit. Markquis is already part of our team, and so is Gradey, and so is David O'Banner. Those three guys. But other guys are kind of suspicious. Ron doesn't actually have a contract yet, so he's kind of up in the air. And then Joe Weezy, we could easily waive him tomorrow. But the rest of them, it's like there's none of them we're tied to at all. They can just go, so we'll have to see. Yeah, they're going to be on the team, Gradey and Markquis, for sure. Let's see. G saying front office is looking at the entire summer league and may grab someone from another team, too, if they see something like they did Terrence Davis. Yeah, that could be possible. We'll see. I like surprises. I want to see what Bobby and Masai have up their sleeve as far as how they finish up roster building this team coming up for this year. Stargate was saying Jarrett Jack was pissed with that mic laugh out loud. That wasn't fair at all. You could tell he was pissed. I wouldn't agree to do it. I would have been like, you really want to do this? Seriously? What is this? You seriously going to make me do this? Yeah, he was pissed. It wasn't fair to the Pistons. In fact, that's me as a Raptors fan saying that's not fair. They're distracting the coach from being able to coach his team in the middle of the game because they want to do something innovative with the broadcast. No, it was awkward. It didn't work. And I felt bad for him, even as a Raptors fan. I was like, I feel bad for the Pistons right now because this is not fair. This is like a really weird, way to not make it easy for them. He was pissed for sure. Country Kong's here. Good to see Country Kong. Scottie Barnes, Twitch family, 2022. We always have last summer with Scott on the Twitch. Good morning, Raptors freaks. Gradey started out in Fuego. I saw Clay, Booker, maybe McGrady. But second half was bad. He lost confidence, late turnover, open three to tie. The Jack interview was awkward. Yeah. It was so weird. Did you guys notice later on they were interviewing the GM of the Detroit Pistons and somebody made a little appearance behind him and was kind of waving? Did you see him waving so much? I was like, look at Masai trying to steal the front office camera time from the Pistons, sitting behind him with his security guy. I believe that guy's name is Steele. He travels with the Raptors just like John Attilia. He's like the second security guy. He's the guy who can break hands too. And he was sitting there acting like he was having a conversation with Masai behind Troy Weaver and the broadcast crew. And at the same time, it's like Masai went and photobombed them, camera bombed the GM of the Pistons. Did you see him do that last night? It was hilarious. He's like waving. He was like doing something with his hands and totally trying to draw attention to himself. It was really weird what's going on there with him. Let's see. Fun guy saying, honestly, I would absolutely love to bring Terrence Davis back. If Dennis starts, he's also a good guard to have off the bench. Has certainly better than Malachi Markquis Noel, no doubt. More experience, maybe more trustworthy. In some ways, I still want to let Malachi have the first shot. In some ways, it's only right if we're doing things the right way. Malachi should get the first chance to be the starting point guard because it's kind of like he's supposed to inherit it. It was like, there's a hierarchy to how we've been training guys over the years. Malachi has 3 years experience with the Raptors. He should really know our systems. He should have learned a lot from Kyle and Fred while they were here. and he could be the most easiest person to transition from the Fred and Kyle are gone now. No Fred anymore. Well, the guy who could probably keep this smoothest in some ways is Malachi, because in some ways he's the most like Fred because he studied under Fred for 3 years. So I really want to see Malachi get a shot. But we're going to do a Thursday think tank one time this summer, talking about who's going to be the starting point guard for the Raptors this year, and we can all share our different ideas about who it should be. That's definitely going to be something we're going to do on a Thursday in the weeks to come. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know who would be the best choice at this point. Some people say Dennis Schroder, obviously, because he's the most experienced. But some people say, well, we should start Scott at point guard and have Dennis come off the bench. We'll have to see what Darko decides. Fiercely saying Joe Dumars explained how to assess a foul while shooting a 3-point. Mentioned to watch how Gradey naturally shoots, and while he was commenting later, he did point out Grady's motion. Yeah, I really like Joe Dumars. He gives me a sense of trusting the referees association in some ways. Some of the stuff he said was really, really good. Talking about the flopping rule, like the new flopping rule, he really kind of elaborated how the refs are going to look at it and call it, and what has to happen for it to happen. Now, if you run into a guy full steam and they just fall over, well, they don't know how to distinguish how much that energy you brought into them is actually doing it. So they will probably call that one still. But if it's really kind of like overacting and like just falling over, and that it was nothing like that, they will get these guys for it. So it's going to be a gray area. And as we said before, and a couple of days before, this is going to be a weird, like, subjective judgment that referees, each individual one in the league, is going to make. And they may be making it on different ways with different personalities and the way they look at it. So we're really going to have to watch the flopping. But Joe Dumars really kind of outlining why they're doing it and what they're actually looking for with the flops. Really, really informative stuff. And Joe Dumars is just awesome. I can just go on and on. Seriously, he was like one of my favorite players. I really loved the Bad Boy Pistons. And Rodman, Dumars, and Isaiah were like my guys. I really used to love those guys a lot, like when I was like 8 years old. So let's see. Hugh is saying Gradey was great off the dribble and knew what to do when he gets run off the line. The shooting will come. He has a good stroke and release. Unlucky loss, but it's an experiment. In some ways, he needs to get those feelings of like, oh, yeah, this is even harder than I thought it was going to be. And I'm really going to have to put in work. And I'm really, really going to have to like start getting certain things going with my training, with my weights, and my conditioning and my endurance. Yeah, these are wake-up calls for these youngsters that come in from college. They come in and they see just the new taste of the talent and what they're up against, and they're like, holy crap. If you're a real competitor, you take this as like the eye of the tiger, and it's like you got to rise up to the challenge of your rivals. And this is going to be really, really hard. So Gradey, that's what you got to do. You're getting your taste. This ain't Kansas no more. And yeah, you got a lot of work to do. Monique's saying, I don't want to see Pat Delany, a summer league coach, again, in my opinion. She doesn't like Pat Delany running the team. He hasn't been horrible. I like that he's active. I like that he's very communicative. He's trying, but within these circumstances is really hard. But yeah, he has a stink of losing around him. And he has had a stink of losing around him for his whole coaching career, really. It's not like he's been on a lot of winning teams or on a lot of playoff teams even. He was in the playoffs in the first round against the Raptors as an assistant coach under Steve Clifford when he was coaching the Magic. And he was there when Kyle Lowry shit the bed in game 1 and DJ Augustin went off and they won the first game against us. But he, that is like the most of his playoff experience is that series against the Raptors in 2019. Otherwise, I don't know how much Pat Delany's actually coached in the playoffs. That may be it. So, he's got limited experience. He's got a lot of experience. He's been around the league for a while, but he's been on losing teams. He's been on Orlando and Charlotte as a coach. Yeah, that says a lot right there. I don't know. I don't want to dismiss the guy. He's on our staff because Darko sees value in him for certain reasons. And, in some ways he knew this summer league maybe not was going to go so well. And he wanted to not use one of his assistants like Jama or James Wade because he don't want to sully their reputation. In some ways, Pat Delany's reputation can't get sullied because he doesn't have one. So it's like in some ways it's like save this dude. James Wade don't want to come out there and get these L's hung on him and as the main guy. So I really see that what it is. It's like Pat is literally a patsy. Pat is a patsy. Oh man, but I get it, Monique. I'm with you in some ways, but I also understand he's biting the bullet. He's jumping on the hand grenade for everybody. Wayne Strainer saying Ron Harper should focus on the one thing he's good at and what the team needs. He works darn hard and deserves success. Is Moses Brown a strainer? Lex, letting everyone through. His D needs work. Yeah, I kind of see that. Like he has such long legs and he does have mobility. Why don't you do the footwork on defense? It's like he doesn't have defensive footwork. That's the really weird thing about it. He just kind of stood there. And he's like, oh, let Ausar Thompson just go right by you and lay it up. Where are you, dude? Meanwhile, you see Thompson stepping up to people and blocking your own shot. Like that was pretty humbling when Moses Brown, 7'2", is tall and has those long ass arms, still got his ass blocked by Ausar Thompson. That's embarrassing, honestly. And he should have been doing that to him instead. Like he could get more blocks. It's like it's amazing. He actually does get blocks. Like he got 3 blocks last night. Moses Brown could get more blocks, seriously, if he was more active on defense. He could be like Victor and those other guys, Chet, right now. He could have like 6 blocks if he was better with his defensive footwork. Hughes saying, I want the Raptors 905 to pick up Mo Gueye. I think he has potential to be Chris Boucher hybrid with better handles and athleticism. Yeah, that's exactly how I gauge him too, Hugh, is that he has handles better than Chris. He's a little smaller than Chris. He's not as strong as him. It may be that Chris, I don't know, it looks like his 3 may be better than Chris's 3 right now too already. So I don't know. We don't want to compare him too much. Obviously, Chris has way more experience and smarter, and he understands the NBA game and what it takes to be a pro much better. But who knows? You get Mo Gueye on a 2-way. He can bounce between the 905 and the main Raptors and get some time with Chris teaching him. It could very well be that Chris Boucher says, listen, I made a mistake when I was younger. I wanted to be Kevin Durant, but I realize my role now, and I'm carving out an NBA career. This is how you can do it, Mo Gueye. Don't try and do this. Just be like me and carve your role out and know your role and play within it, and you'll be an NBA pro for many years. Oh, okay, Chris, thanks. Yeah, do it, Mo. All right. That would be great to see Chris Boucher mentor a young Mo Gueye and maybe help him on a career path from the beginning of his career, because Chris had some growing pains in the NBA, and he didn't really blossom as an NBA player until his late 20s. So maybe Mo Gueye, being a younger player, could start blossoming younger because he has the right mindset, because Chris came and talked to him about it. Listen, you may think you're going to come in and be the next Kevin Durant, but you're not. And just go ahead and just be a role that's very valuable in the NBA, and you will stay in this league. You know, that kind of mentorship from Chris to Mo Gueye could be really good. G saying Gradey will most likely be coming off the bench, so he will be able to work on his defense against those guys. They are tougher than these summer league players, so he has some work to do on that end. He definitely does. Like he's already showing that he can be exploited, and I don't like that. In some ways, that's a very thing. One thing I was really worried about with him is that if he's like they're targeting him and going right at him, you could see that right from the beginning. That they very much so the 3 guys on the Pistons yesterday that absolutely killed us were obviously Thompson, but Sasser and Roden also. Those 2 guys, like right from the beginning, Roden had those 2 threes. He was kind of daring Gradey, and he wasn't getting Gradey. Gradey wasn't respecting him, and he made him pay. He very much made him pay. Yeah, it was a really interesting team. They didn't have the best Pistons out there, and they still managed to beat us. I didn't like that at all. I did not like that. Nameless is saying, let's be real. Nothing is gained by winning Summer League. The team that wins learns the least about their team. Fact. I love that spin, Nameless. I wish that was completely true, but I don't know if it is. Country Kong saying Mo Gueye intrigues me a lot. I hear people compare him to Boucher. I actually see Siakam type potential. Maybe not the current version of Siakam, who can ISO and hit middies, but the rookie athlete Pascal. Yeah, I can see that too. Actually, that's really a good point, Country Kong. You know what it is? In fact, you know what? He may be a better three-point shooter than Siakam and Chris already. And that's kind of intriguing to me because he seems like he's much more dialed in and his form is better. Like, he seems really consistent with the threes. I want to see him more with the 3-pointers, but definitely two-way this guy. Seriously. Wayne's saying Noel has got to learn the alley-oop can't be his go-to play when playing against tall athletic players. Yeah. Yeah. I think we have the 4 players going forward. Yeah. He had that one oop he tried to do and it got picked off or got deflected. That's the thing. Everything's going to be much more difficult. These guys will telegraph you. They're longer, they're bigger, they're faster. They're going to come there. Gradey keeps talking about, oh, I love the new NBA court because there's more space for me to operate. Yeah, well, the players are also quicker and they get to that space quicker and get to you quicker still. Even if you feel like you have more room to breathe, well, those guys are coming to you quicker. And that is a big difference, even if you feel like you got more space. Jimmy's saying, I always take these games with a grain of salt, as you should. Yes, Jimmy, of course. I really don't care who wins. I'm only looking at a few things, like how they play as a team, not just worrying about themselves, make the extra pass, etc. Yeah, you want to see indications that they're unselfish. You want to see them fundamentally play good. You want to see how their stroke looks and what their mechanics are with their shooting stroke. A lot of that stuff looks good with Gradey. The hustle's there. The shooting stroke looks good. The IQ looks pretty good. Like the moving around. That one little like running hook play that they did was fantastic. I love that play. It really showed Gradey reading the play and executing really well and coming around McCormack at the free throw line and doing that little running hook. And they said, oh, that's a full hook shot. Yeah, that was really impressive. I really like that play. And in some ways, that play shows how Gradey can be used running around screens. And that could be very fruitful for the Raptors in the years to come. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I'm with you. We don't really care. I mean, obviously, we'd like to win for good feelings. These guys are probably pissed. They probably feel like they're failures. They like to win because they're programmed to do that. But in some ways, we're like, it's the summer league. Who gives a shit? Who cares? In some ways, Nameless is saying y'all are tripping if you believe the Raptors are trying to win summer league. There are more lessons in failure than success. All right, there you go. Yes, teach us grasshoppers. Yes, Nameless. I think you're right. In some ways, although it's not like we're trying to team build with this team. These guys don't have a future with the Raptors, so it doesn't really matter if we build chemistry or gel. In the past, teams, franchises have built their summer league rosters to benefit certain individual players that they drafted. Like they did not get guys that are trying all hard, selfishly to just make the team. They would get guys that were solid team guys, and they would kind of help to showcase somebody like Gradey's talent. It'd be almost like all right, we need to go get a guy who's not really going to try and make the team, but he can make Gradey look good. And that's kind of like, I remember Summer League being more like that. It's like they may orient it around their draft picks and say, well, we're really going to these guys and we'll get complementary players that just fill the roster out, but they don't really have a chance to make the team. And they know that they're coming here just to help showcase their actual picks. It's not like that with our Summer League this year. Everybody's trying to make the team and there's nobody trying to help showcase Gradey Dick. And that could have been a big difference in whether Gradey looks better or not. If we had built our Summer League team like maybe in the past we have, where it's like we don't care about the guys for most of the roster. You're really just here to play a solid role in a team system where we want to showcase our actual guys that we do care about. I think that's a big difference in why the Summer League's going like this. Let's see. Nameless is saying, y'all are a bunch of casuals if you're already doubting Gradey. Fact. Well, call me a casual. I doubted him the first time I saw his highlights. And I did not like the pick, but I want to believe in him. So I'm going back and forth just like you are, Nameless. It's just how it is. In some ways, I really hate that he missed those open shots at the end of the game. I really hate that he had his pocket picked. And it led to the Detroit Pistons taking a 1-point lead right at the end of the game. Yeah, those things I don't like. I really, really don't like those. But you know what? You guys are looking at the bright side, and I like that. We're a positive Raptors channel. I like that y'all like his shooting stroke. You like some of the intangibles. You like some of the other stuff you're seeing from him. So you know what? I'll go with you guys. But I am a little, and I'm glad you're more high on him now. Stargate saying, I've been involved in organized ball, both in playing and coaching capacities. And trust me, both Markquis and Gradey will figure it out. You can tell they both have high ball IQ. They get it. Yeah. I think you're right too, Stargate. And I think you're right. There's certain things that are going to have to adjust from the college game. That some things will work in Kansas will not work in the NBA. and they're just figuring out what those things are. So, certain passes that Markquis tries to thread the needle with, he won't be able to do in the NBA. We saw that, like we said earlier, there's an alley-oop attempt that was not probably the smartest thing to do because the talent's way better. Talent is way, way better. Seymour saying, anyone calling for Masai to get fired, please just find another club to root for. So many of our fans are toxic as fuck. Yeah, Seymour, I hate this so much. A lot of people are upset with them, and I hate it. Like, more of us should be happy and really pleased with them because they do so much good more than bad. And being a GM and running an NBA team is not easy. There's 30 teams. They're all competing for the same thing. They're all trying their damnedest. They're all in heavy competition for players, prospects, anything they can get. And the fact that the Raptors have built themselves to where they are right now is actually pretty impressive. We have a very, very good core. A lot of people don't believe that, but they will find out once again. We'll remind them, Seymour. We will remind them. And that's right. If you want to be toxic about the Raptors and social media and other places, just go on and root for another team. Please leave this team alone. Nameless is saying, if you are wanting to fire our management, please consider this. If you knew the truth of what was really happening behind the scenes, you would shut your mouth and would be applauding. Fact number 3. Yeah, they have no idea how much bullshit they got to deal with. We don't know what kind of pressure they're getting from the MLSE board. We don't know what kind of bullshit the NBA gives extra to the Raptors to kind of go through with certain things. We do not know all the headaches and all the pitfalls and all the possible ways you can fuck up as a GM. And these guys are probably safeguarding our team from making a lot of those general fuck ups, like a Jalen McDaniels and the Philadelphia 76ers. Stuff like that. They're very much on top of it, and they're very capable, and they know what they're doing. Some teams' fans are like, Charlotte's GM, I have no idea if he knows what he's doing. Seriously, I have no idea if he knows what he's doing. In some ways, we know our front office knows what they're doing, and a lot of teams' fans are like, I have no idea. I have no trust in our front office at all. Seriously, and that's something that we need to value as a nation, Raptors. Seymour saying Gradey and Markquis went from rivals to teammates, so the gel factor will take time. Schroder and OG will take time as well, hoping for the best. Nah, they're hilarious. It's funny. In some ways, I knew this was exactly how it was going to happen. Everyone would say, oh, they're going to have problems with each other. It's such bullshit. They show the clip of them meeting up at the hotel, and they're laughing about it. Dennis described it as, this is the guy who dragged me. And OG is kind of saying, yeah, you flopped. They had a little disagreement about how they saw it, but in all things, the thing that matters is I respect the dog and the competitor in you. I see in you a part of me, and vice versa. That's the biggest thing about OG and Dennis, is that they have a tenacity and a dedication to a defensive intensity that will very much bond them, that they care about winning. And like I said, in some ways they have a lot in common. They're European guys. And, Dennis did say this is something he really likes about coming to Toronto, is that he feels like Toronto is more Europe-like than the U.S., and that is something he very much values. In fact, he was actually alluding to, the States is kind of a dumpster fire. And in some ways, he's very happy to bring his family to Canada and have his family here in Canada instead of in the States right now. So that's interesting to me too. But yeah, OG and Dennis, squash that right away. It's a big smile and it's kind of a joke and it's funny. It's funny. It's honestly, that kind of stuff bonds people. Honestly, seriously, they're more likely to be best friends now than hate each other because of that. It's like Dennis doesn't care. It's like he's not hurt from it. It didn't give him a season-ending injury or anything like that. It's not like it just was something that happened and time passes and oh well, who cares? Randolph saying, Lex, if this was our first game of Summer League, it would have been okay. But it being the end, there's no opportunity for us to see what they could be. This is because they came together late. Yeah, they've been together for 10 days. What do you expect for these guys to do? And they all have selfish motives for why they're there. And they very much called it out. DJ Hogue saying it in the interview the other day. Yeah, we're all coming here from ego and selfish reasons. That is not what you want to hear. These guys are not there for the thing I just talked about with some teams would build their summer league with haves and have-nots. These guys are not going to have any chance to make the team. So play to make these other guys look better. That is historically how a lot of summer league teams have looked. Is we'll have a bunch of guys that have no chance, and they're really just there to make the other guys that have a chance look good. And there's none of that. These guys are all trying to get their shine and trying to make the team on their own. in different ways. Nameless is saying, you people that want to fire Masai, you have no idea about just how much one decision affects 100 different variables, both short and long term, and how it's nearly impossible to manage both. The realistic job of a GM is not as simple as like playing 2K and moving guys in and out on a video game. You know, seriously, the fantasy basketball, the 2K, the managing of rosters that people do in games makes everybody think they know how to fucking do that job, and they have no idea all the different layers to it. There's the person; these are human beings. They're not just like gigabytes on a screen or in a computer in a video game. This is real human beings, and they have families. They have different people around them. They have different needs and wants. You have different issues that come up in real life in basketball that are just not in the video game. And that's why, you know, people that really think that they could GM or manage the Raptors better than our front office, you have no fucking clue what exactly these guys have to do their jobs. And I'm with you on this, Nameless, so much. Let's see. He's saying, you people calling for Masai think this is like GM mode on 2K. Exactly. Laugh out loud, losers. Grow up. Immature fan base. Product of society we're creating. It's just that everybody's opinion is so able to be put on blast at this point. Most of the time, this kind of murmur and chat, nobody would hear any of this bullshit or this toxicness. It's just there's a place to put it out there for everybody to see now. Ugh, gross. David's saying, good morning, Nameless. Valid points. We can gauge how Gradey will do until we see him in a game. Summer League, not quite the same vibe. Time will tell. I'm a believer. There you go. I love the positivity from you guys. There very sometimes happens where I'm the most negative person on the stream, and y'all are bringing me up with positivity, and I love it. I love it so much. Thank you guys for bringing it back to shine a light on the silver lining. Let's see. Monique is saying, it's amazing to see how quickly Dennis has so much followers on YouTube in just a few days. I bet it's all Raptor fans. Yeah. If you're paying attention to that, Monique, I'll bet you did see a jump once he became a Raptor. That happens to all these guys. That you become a Raptor, you're going to get more follows. You're going to get more people interested in your content for sure. Shirkan saying that Gradey did play where it looked like he traveled. He was actually stripped, so it looked like a broken play. And that call, when it looked like a backcourt violation, was like a loose ball, so not having complete possession. Yeah, I know you're standing up for it, but in the NBA, and that's a rookie, he's going to get both those calls called against him. You know, in the summer league, they're allowing it. They'll allow it, but the regular refs and the regular game, and in fact, there was a point where that backcourt part happened, and they showed the Detroit guys on the end of the sideline talking amongst themselves, and I know they were pretty much saying, yeah, that won't happen in the regular season. That wouldn't happen. That call wouldn't happen that way. They would have called backcourt. I know it looks like it was a loose ball and it was out there, but a Raptor player saved it from out of bounds and had touched it, so it was still our possession. The other team had maybe stripped the ball a little bit, but that doesn't matter. If we touch the ball again and we're on that side and he's over on the other side, it was very 50-50 and close. It was like he's leaping over the line. That was part of the closeness. But those plays are so kind of 50-50. And if he's a rookie, the veteran refs will call it against him in the NBA. In Summer League, he can get away with it. But in the NBA, if it looks like it kind of looked like a travel, because it did kind of look like a travel when he kind of bobbled the ball, I don't know for sure if the defender got their hand on it and that he could carry it and catch it again and get contact and put it in. But to be safe, and if it's a rookie and they're going to call it against him. That he'll get away with in Summer League, but those kind of half-ass plays where they're kind of 50-50, like that looked like it was backcourt. Oh, that looked like that was a travel. They will call it on him against him in the regular season. That's just what I'm saying. It's like they'll do it that way. But yeah, and you may be right. Maybe he didn't travel. Maybe there was a hand on it and he was just got it back and he's going up with it. But it looked like a travel to me, and it looked like a backcourt to me also. Nameless is saying our fan base is a microcosm and reflection of our society here in North America. I mean, I guess everything could be a microcosm of everything. Even our group, the Raptor Freaks, we're a microcosm of everything. We're a microcosm of the Raptors nation. G saying, Masai scouted and wanted Scottie and got him. No Masai equals no Scottie. That's exactly right. We could have had a jabroni GM that took Jalen Suggs, just like everybody told us to. No, not Masai. We could talk about all the praises and things that Masai has done in his 10 years of running the Raptors. He has way more wins than losses in GM land. Trust me. Let's see. Nameless is saying, give me exactly how and when I want it. When. I'm not even going there anymore. I can't read Twitter anymore. I don't look at comment sections on Facebook anymore. If there's a post about the Raptors, I used to want to check the water and see what the average Raptor fans are saying in comment sections. I don't do it anymore because it's like it's not even like worth it. It's like I just see toxic bullshit and asinine opinions with no like basis of like really understanding basketball. I just see people talking out their ass. So I'm like, why am I wasting time in my day reading idiots' opinions in the comment section? So I'm not even taking the water on this anymore. This is probably what you all are reacting to. It's like, gimme exactly how and what I want. When, babies. Yeah, I don't even want to read the babies' comments anymore. So that's part of why you guys are probably talking about it more than I am, because I'm not going there to look at it anymore. I just don't have time to read comment sections anymore. People are not giving me any worthwhile reactions to things anymore. They're just pessimistic and they're idiots. And a lot of times they're just saying stupid shit. Seymour saying, nameless, 100% facts. Toxicity runs deep. Yeah, I hate this about, in some ways they're intensifying it right now because, like I said, they really want to like pop out Siakam next. And they can pop out Siakam, they'll know their job is done and that they've destroyed the 2019 Toronto Raptors being on the Toronto Raptors. Yeah. And that's why they're going after Chris on the side also, because they see him as being one of the guys with the rings. If they could get rid of all of our ring guys, they would. Pascal, Otto, OG, and Chris. That's what they want to do. Stargate saying, I agree with Lex. I think the Thompson twins are both better than Scoot. Ausar just looked like he'd been in the league already with how he played. Yeah, he's ready to go, and he's an all-round talent. I'm really, really impressed with the shot blocks and the steals and the rebounds. He was doing everything it took to win. And he didn't have any of the other young Pistons that were blue chippers with him. It really was the Ausar show yesterday, with no Jaden Ivey and Duran and those guys out there. Nameless is saying, my great grandmother had to rummage through garbage cans for food during World War II. When? He's like, these people, they got everything for them and they want everything. And like, yeah, I get it. Perspective. Your life is not tough, casuals and toxic Raptors Nation. Monique is saying, did you all know that Dennis's father died when he was 16? Yeah, I didn't realize that until yesterday. And like I said, this is a really big factor in what makes Dennis who he is. In some ways, this is a common thread with some of our Raptors that can bond them together because they can identify with each other on their losses. And, OG, Pascal, and Dennis, this is something they all have in common. Carlos saying, morning, Lex and fellow freaks. Good morning to Raptor Freak Carlo. Good to see you. Country Kong saying, Grady's expressing himself in his TikTok videos in his extravagant draft night attire. It tells me that he has a huge personality. He must be a dog to need to outlet that much energy on TikTok. Yeah, I mean, he did talk about this with Taylor Rooks and other interviews in the last couple of weeks about the dichotomy of him, like not being so serious in his social media life and like his regular life. But then on the court, he wants everybody to know that he's very serious there. Don't mistake his TikTok goofiness for him not taking things seriously, because he does. He really, really does. You know what? Let's go look at the Instagram stories real quick. We got Slim Duck is with the 7-foot photographer who did the Wayne Embry scholarship with us. So he's putting him on blast, and he's saying wealthiest thing to have right now is peace of mind. I think that says a lot considering all the trade talk and all the bullshit right now. He says that when he has to explain something 2 times, he's like, motherfucker, look, like SpongeBob. That's hilarious. Gradey putting on blast Wilder Evers. I guess it's an old Kansas teammate of his or something. Gradey had 22 points. He's posting that too. And he's taking golf swings somewhere. There's some footage of him taking some golf swings at a casino in the hotel at Vegas. So he doesn't have a golf glove, so he's using a towel to wrap around it. Ron Harper Jr. Is putting on blast his guy Double Nickel. I guess it's some player on the Nuggets or the Thunder that he's putting on blast. And then he's got his highlight of his dunk. Of course, he's got to put that on blast. That was really impressive. He caught a body there, that's for sure. Yeah, Ron Harper put that man on a poster. I like that. Markquis Noel is saying tapped in with Mr. New York City on the sharp one. He's getting his hair cut by some guy, I guess, in Las Vegas. And then he's also saying we hold the L's the same way we hold the W's. One day they laugh, the next day they praise God's glory. There you go. I like that, Noel. Keeping it real with the W's and the L's. And then, of course, yes, really love seeing Matt Devlin on the scooter at Global Jam yesterday with Alvin Williams, and his son Jack was at the game also. And great to see Matt not missing a beat and getting out there with his broken foot. Him and Savannah Hamilton and Alvin calling the games yesterday. It doesn't look like there's as good a crowd as last year. Of course, the Wednesday afternoon games, that's kind of a weird time for them. So there was probably a lot of empty seats. It's too bad. We want to see that place packed up. So get down there to Global Jam. Please get down there. Precious has got his What If Unlimited Basketball Week coming up, guys, in August. Mark your calendars and go and join Precious's basketball camp, the What If Unlimited Basketball Week, coming up very soon. I think that's pretty much it for our Raptors on Instagram for today. Yeah, there you go. All right, let's keep going. But yeah, Gradey's TikTok. He hasn't been doing TikTok since he's been around the Raptors. We'll have to see how the Raptors talk to him about doing TikToks. It may be that they're not encouraging him to do them too much. I know Scottie's already said he won't be involved in Gradey's TikTok. So that's kind of a wet blanket already. We'll see. I'm sure Gradey will do some TikToks at some point. We'll have to see if there are any Raptor cameos in them. He does very much like to include his teammates in his TikTok creative stuff. So we'll have to see. Fiercely saying on another note, so happy the Ottawa Blackjacks have won their 7th straight game and are leading both conferences in the CBL. Wow. Fiercely is an Ottawa Blackjacks fan. CBL, very interesting stuff going on. Chuck Swirsky calling a game in Winnipeg for the Winnipeg team recently. I love seeing that. Chuck coming up for the summer and calling CBL games across the nation. And him being in Winnipeg calling a game this week, that's fantastic. CBL has been taking off and more interest across the country with teams in Calgary and Vancouver and Winnipeg, right? All kinds of good stuff and growth with the CBL. I love hearing that, Fiercey. Stargate saying, yeah, Mo Gueye is a way better natural ball handler than Chris. It's not even close. Laugh out loud. Chris just has better instincts at this point. Chris has more experience. He knows how to be a pro better. It may be that Mo Gueye is more talented than him. He's shorter than Chris also. That's the other thing. So we'll have to see. Chris, of course, is bulked out, and he's much stronger at this point than Mo Gueye. And some of the stuff that translates into the highest level of the NBA means you got to be that strong. So even if Mo Gueye looks like he has more promise and skills, he's going to have to do the hard work to get an NBA body to be at the level of Chris right now. So even if he looks like he's better at dribbling and doing this and that, he's not better than Chris, because Chris has put in the work and he understands what it takes to play at a high level in the NBA consistently. And that may be something that Mo Gueye's going to need some years on. Shirkan saying Boucher's contract is looking better and better each day with the big bucks thrown around this offseason on average players. We know who he is and can get hot from three. I sincerely hope he stays on the bench. Yeah, if he's a value contract, why would we want to trade him? If we're getting a good deal for him, why? He doesn't want to leave. He loves it here. Why? I know people were at me yesterday about emotionally being attached to Canadian players on our team, but I feel like this is important. I feel like for our team to feel Canadian, we should have Canadian players on our team. And there's no reason why we shouldn't. There's so many good Canadian players now that it'd be a travesty if the Raptors didn't roster a few Canadian players at all times. We had 4 at the highest in recent years. Now we're down back to 1. And I don't like that. I want to get back a few more. I'd like to reacquire some more Canadian guys. I just think Canadian content matters in Canada. It matters on the radio and it matters on TV. It should matter on your basketball team, the Canadian content. That's right. We're talking Canadian content. I guess I should bring this guy in. We're going to talk about this. Justin, don't you think that we need more Canadians on the Raptors right now? Yeah, I do too. And he's the guy who really cares about Canadian content. He's our Canadian content evaluator. And he's not liking how much Canadian content we have right now, Masai and Bobby, right? Yeah. So, all right. Thank you, Justin. Beaver, you are my son. I love you very much. And I hope that you have a great day. Okay? All right. Bye. Bye. Okay, go. Bye. Bye. All right. Anyway. All right, let's see. Wayne Strainer saying Grady's interview was telling. When asked about his legacy in the NBA, his answer was personal. Accomplishment, not team achievements. Wendy was asked the same question. His answer was team titles. Grady did say he wants to win a title. Of course, he has these ambitions. He wants to be known as one of the best shooters in the game. These are great goals for him. It's you can't really totally go by this as far as like whether he's being team oriented or personal. They asked him specifically what your personal goals are. Well, he did say he wants to win a championship, and that's kind of team oriented. MSJ saying, hey, is this Saturday, 3 p.m., the meetup on still? Yeah. MSJ, 3 p.m., Real Sports Bar and Grill next to Scotiabank Arena, Raptorsfreak meet and greet. There are going to be all kinds of fun stuff happening there. I'll have some gifts, some stuff going on there, and we're going to be there and just hanging out and talking, and hopefully we'll live stream too. Monique saying, Rose with the great courtside interview. Man, Dennis is so ready. Oh, Roz. Yeah. She had that interview with Dennis during the game. That was pretty good. I like that. Yes, we are going to be there on Saturday. MSJ saying at Raptors Superfan Monique, is this place the one under the Scotiabank Arena? Yeah, it's the one right across. You know where the hockey statues are with all the hockey players from the Leafs? Right across the street is where Real Sports is, right there. So if you know where the old hockey statues for the Leafs team, the great Leafs that they keep adding over in that one section over to the side from Jurassic Park, right across the street is where we are meeting for Real Sports inside that building, 3 p.m. Saturday. So in 2 days, y'all. Yeah, that's right. Yep, right beside 15 York Street. That's right. Yeah, MSJ, we'll get down there and get near the arena. We want to be near where the Raptors are when we're celebrating together. And also I figure because it's Union Station and it's a centralized place, everybody can kind of get down there from everywhere that they're coming. It's kind of easier with transport in certain ways. David's saying, I'm looking forward to seeing Flynn in the court with no Fred VanVleet. Those lineups were a disaster. Yeah, I always hated the 2-point guard lineup. I was okay with Fred and Kyle, but I hated it with Fred and Malachi. And yeah, I'm with you on this, David. It'll be interesting to see him just being the only point guard out there. Country Kong saying, I'm watching the Big Three celebrity game. Ron Gronkowski could have been an NBA great. His arms are super long, and he's obviously a large human being. I think the Big Three is onto something with celebrities. That's pretty cool. Ice Cube's really mad at the NBA. He feels like they're really trying to hurt his league and really not, in some ways they should work in cooperation with him. I get it. If they're doing anything weird to hold down Ice Cube and the Big Three, just stop, NBA. Let them do what they do. In fact, it's kind of cool that older players that are not totally ready to retire have somewhere to go and showcase that they can still kind of do things. And that's cool that they're letting former NFL players play in this league now. If it was a couple years earlier, we would have seen Terrell Owens go there, absolutely destroy the Big Three, because he was a really good basketball player. Terrell Owens, former wide receiver in the NFL. He would play in the celebrity games around NBA All-Star Weekend, and he was dunking and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So, yeah, I like that. I like to hear that Big Three's got innovation with that kind of people like him showing up, Gronkowski. And I wish them well. I don't want the NBA to bully the Big Three. So if you like 3-on-3 basketball and the Big Three's coming to your town, go support it. All right, let's keep going. Monique is saying Pat Delany has an edge, though. I'll give him that. Yeah, he in some ways has shades of Nick Nurse in some ways. Like there's a bit of the intensity in him. He seems pissed off. He seems like a real guy, and I enjoy him being that kind of guy. Thanks for the super chat. That is Paul S. or Paul B. Thank you, Paul B. Does Markquis Noel turn his back after breaking a 3 tonight? Love his passing. Well, all right, let's transition to the preview. Since Paul B's been talking about, we're playing the Nets today at 5:00. They are currently, I believe they're 2-1 in their record so far. They're really playing the same 5 starters. And you know who's going to come up and play us today? And it's going to be a tough one. Their starting point guard, who's absolutely been tearing it, is Armoni Brooks. So we're going to be facing Armoni Brooks today. There is a possibility that Armoni is going to be like killing us. You know what I'm saying? Like where he's going to have a chip on his shoulder because we cut him, and he's going to want to try and kill us tonight. So Armoni Brooks is for on the Nets team. The other guys of note on this Nets team are they got David Duke Jr., who's we're familiar with because he's played on the Nets regular roster for 2 years. They also got Noah Clowney, who was picked number 21 in the draft this year. He's very young. He's only 18 years old, out of Alabama, but he's played very well so far. It's really their starters that are doing good things. Armani, Noah Clowney, David Duke, Jalen Wilson of Kansas, best friends with Grady Dick, will be lining up in their starting lineup against us. He's had a very good summer league so far. Jalen Wilson, forward. So there's going to be a lot of palling around between Grady and Jalen because they are best friends from being on Kansas last year. So that will be an interesting little story about the game today, the friendship between Jalen Wilson and Grady Dick. And then there's a guy named Chandler, who's a guard who's been starting also, Kennedy Chandler. And they've also got our 905er from last year, Jordan Hall, on their roster. Jordan Hall was around the Raptors 905 last year. He's a pretty athletic guy. So we'll see if he does stuff. Now, what they're doing with their lineup is they're very small. They have a 3 guard starting lineup. They've been starting 3 point guards, actually, the Brooklyn Nets, consistently in summer league so far. So it could very well be Moses Brown, if he's playing, could have a huge impact because there's nobody really tall on their team. It's a very interesting Brooklyn Nets team. Not really. I don't think they have a single center on their team. Their tallest player is 6'10", Noah Clowney, and he's kind of 18. He's a rookie out of Alabama. Yeah, so there are some weaknesses with this Nets team that we can hopefully capitalize and maybe use in an advantage is size. But yeah, they're very small, they're very quick, and they have a lot of experience compared to us. Armani Brooks is somebody who's going to try and kill us today. Let's just put it that way. Also, Raycron Gray off the bench out of Florida State is another player on their team to watch out for. But yeah, they've had a mixed bag. They beat the Bucks. And they also beat, I forget who else they beat. They're 2-1. So this will be a tough test. Hopefully we can win this one. We played really well against Detroit and we just didn't close it out and win. Well, let's hopefully win this one today. That's what I'm all about. So let's beat those Nets. Watch out for Armani Brooks. He's going to have revenge in his mind. Watch. Yeah, he will. Kareem saying, dig big Grady. Amazing to see him get his shots off. Yeah. Yeah, Grady looks good in summer league. He does look good, but in some ways we know he's got a lot of work to do, and we're tempering our expectations as far as what he will contribute to the Raptors on the main roster for the season. I really want to see a heavy dose of him on 905. I want to see him dominate down there. I want to see him get going. Paul B saying Gueye looks like he will fit in right away with the real squad. Yeah, he's definitely a long arm monster. He's definitely our Vision 6'9" kind of guy. And I love the motor and the effort in him. Very, very good motor. Fun guy saying, whoa, what happened to the chat? It's different now. What do you mean? What happened to the chat, fun guy? Oh, because we've got super chats now? That's right. I got monetized. Let's see. Trevor J saying, follow me on Instagram, an untouchable artist. All right, let me go find him right now. I'll go to Instagram and find Trevor J, an untouchable artist. And an untouchable artist. Maybe I didn't spell that right. I'll find you afterwards, Trevor. Let's see. Name is saying, in real life, Grady will be much more prepared to handle that pass if he handles it at all. All right, I hope so. Trevor saying, why are Raptors fans listening to these youngsters who have nothing to do with their time? Okay, hang on, it jumped. Who have nothing to do with their time, but talk shit all day long. I don't know. And yeah, we just got to tune them out. Let's not dial into that frequency anymore. We don't have to give the attention to these people anymore. Stargate saying, Lex, you need to check on your boy Ben over at Raptors Digest. I know you like him in our press, but with how far he's come, but his constant overzealous trade Pascal content is not good. Have a great day. Thanks, Stargate. Well, I don't really watch him often. I came across him this weekend just for a second because I was interested to see something he was saying. And I kind of just watched him for a little bit, but I've not been paying attention to Raptors Digest for a few years now, just partly because I don't want to steal his takes or sound like him on here. If we say the same thing, it's because we came to it organically on our own. I don't like that. If there's people coming after Siakam right now, I'm not with them. And, there's going to be a lot of opinions on Raptors content right now that I'm probably not going to agree with. And a lot of it has to do with Siakam and moving him and what would be best for our team. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll go check him. I don't know. Probably not, though. David's saying to establish possessions, you need to make 2 basketball moves. At the end of one of the things that's annoying me about Moses Brown is that all right, not only is he more very good on the offensive end than the defensive end, but he doesn't help us end defensive possessions. I want him to grab more defensive rebounds, and he just doesn't swallow them up. He would help us so much if he would just be somebody who just swallows up defensive rebounds constantly. And I feel like he lets the other team get to them too much for him having such a height advantage. So he's kind of annoying. That's how you establish a possession. You got to get the defensive rebound to start your own possession. And too often, we're letting the other team outwork us on the offensive boards and get second chance shots. Well, with a very tall team with Moses Brown out there, that shouldn't be happening. Carlos saying, what's up with Grange, Will, and the podcast these days? I don't know. Will Lou had Grange on this week to continue Grange's stupid campaign right now, talking about Siakam. It is really annoying around Raptors Nation right now. Well, I'm just going to go by this. Bobby and Masai will make a move if they want to. I'll trust it if they do. Otherwise, I'm just going to not listen to any of the noise because it's all been bullshit for so many years now. Why should I believe it now? If it happens, then I'll believe it. That's all we got to do. That's all only way we can be in this. So MSJ saying, I don't mind if Dick is kind of goofy online or in his life. Look at some of the greats to play the game. Their private life was to sleep with as many women as possible, which is worse. Goofy is fine. Yeah. Old NBA life. I mean, look at Nikola Jokic. He's probably the most popular, best player, not the most popular, best player in the league right now. And he is definitely goofy. He's definitely not very serious in a lot of aspects in his life. And that has not hurt him from climbing all the way to the top of the league and being the champion and the MVP of the finals. So, yeah, that's a good example right there. It's just Nikola Jokic. You can be a goofy guy and you can still be fine. Cowboys saying, let's go, Raptors. Let's go. I'm going to try and make it Saturday. Everyone have a great day. Stay dry. All right, Cowboy. I really do wish you could come down there. Bring Anya, bring whoever you want to bring. Because I loved seeing you last year, and I hope you can return for this year also. All right, let's see. He's got everyone smash that like button. He's got the chomper faces. I love it. David's saying, so the fact we saved that ball and it went over and back, it wasn't because we didn't have possession. You're talking about that Gradey Dick play? It looked weird. All right, they hit it out of the ball. They hit it out of his hands, the Raptor, and then he went out of bounds. I forget who it was. It looked like O'Banner or something like that. And he actually hit the ball back in bounds off of Raptor's hands. And then Gradey was coming over the midcourt line, and it was kind of dubious whether he had jumped over it and was in the air or he was still over on the other side of the line. It may be that that's why they didn't call it, is because they saw he was in motion, he was close enough. They were like, we'll let him have it, kind of thing. If it was going along with what Joe Dumars was saying, he's like, you want to reward the effort. So maybe Gradey showed enough effort, and those refs, I don't know if you noticed, they had like triple-digit numbers on their backs. They're like referee 246 and shit like that. Yeah, these are trainee refs. These are refs that aren't even like G League refs. These are new people that I've never seen half these refs in Summer League right now. So, yeah, that's part of it, too. Is the refereeing is not the highest level. The broadcast is not the highest level. The players are not the highest level. It's Summer League. So, yeah. And David's saying, let's get that W tonight. I love it, David. Thank you for the super chat. And, yeah, it's all about the W's. We got to get a W tonight, Raptors. If we don't tonight, we definitely got to get one in our consolation game this weekend. Monique saying, W stream, Lex, always keep at it. Raptors for life. Despite Summer League, we're all good. It's Summer League. What do you care? You get to see the young players. You get to see a little taste of basketball in the middle of the summer. Hey, I'm grateful for that I get to watch a Raptors game today at 5 p.m. against the Brooklyn Nets. Raptors, let's see if we can get it together and actually win this one. Close it out and do it right. Y'all learned a couple lessons yesterday, Markquis and Gradey, that you got to play really strong all the way through an NBA game and don't let up, because that team will come back. Even if you feel like you got a good lead and you're kind of cruising, well, this is the NBA and anything can happen real quick, real fast, and you can't let down your guard. You got to play all the way through the 40 minutes of the whole game. 40 minutes. I kind of hate that they play only 40 minutes. Like the 10-minute quarters, I get it. But why wouldn't you just do a regular NBA game, like with 12-minute quarters? I guess it's because they want to jam them all together within 2 hours so they can have so many games. And the halftime is so short right now. And they literally have us leaving the court, and the Knicks and the Magic are walking onto the court to start their game almost immediately. Yeah. In some ways, that made more pressure at the end of the game because all of a sudden you have two other professional teams standing in the wings watching the end of the game. And you see Juwan Howard show up to watch Jet Howard play for the Magic. You start seeing Amari Stoudemire sit down, and all of a sudden, wait, there's all this distraction because we're starting to transition to the next summer league game immediately after it. That makes it even more confusing and distracting. When you're in a pressure situation, you have to hit a big three right at the end of the game, like Gradey was trying to do. So that makes sense. Country Kong saying, I fought the like button and I won. There you go. Country Kong fought the like button and won over the like button. All right, y'all. Tough loss by the Raptors by 4. They could have won this game. They didn't. It's Summer League. Who cares? Really good stuff from Mo Gueye. I really like this guy. Moses Brown, you have faults. I do not want you on this team, but you were one of the better players yesterday. And RJ Nembhard showing up and playing pretty good as my 3 stars. Gradey, really good first half. Difficult second half. The fact that he had 18 points in the first half and only 4 points in the second half is a big reason why we lost. You cannot have this kind of scoring in the beginning of the game, get 18 points, and then only score 4 points in the last 2 quarters. Great. You got to show up the whole game. And Markquis, not a very good game shooting-wise. 6 assists and 4 turnovers. That's not a good assist-to-turnover ratio. Ron Harper Jr., you could play even better. You were okay, but you could play even better. Yeah, so watch out for Armani Brooks tonight. This is the dangerous guy. We got to try and not let him get revenge against us because you know he's going to try and get revenge against us for cutting him in recent years. So Stargate saying, you and Ben are not the same at all, Lex. Every single day, several times a day from the past 3 weeks, his content is all pro trade Pascal content. It's quite nefarious, in my opinion. You keep up the good work. Thank you, Stargate. I really do appreciate it. And thank you, David and Paul, for the super chats today. Fantastic. And thank you, Trevor J, for the super chat earlier this week. You guys, I really appreciate it. This channel isn't about being monetized and getting money. But if you want to tip me, I have no problem with it. But once again, I don't judge you guys on whether you give me money or not. I'm going to treat you all just the same either way. So don't worry about it. And yes, I will get memberships together soon. And we'll have a special thing where you can pay a monthly membership and you'll have a special badge and like other perks added to it. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that package will be and how much it will be. But that will be a really easy way to support my channel also is by being a monthly member if you don't feel like doing super chats. All right, y'all. Thanks once again. 5 p.m. today, Brooklyn Nets. Let's beat the Nets. Let's just try and continue to show improvement. I really do feel like even though we've lost the 3 Summer League games so far, we've shown improvement in each game. Yesterday was the best game of the 3 so far, and we should have actually won it, but we didn't. Well, let's see if we can improve on it and win today. So let's beat Brooklyn. Fuck Brooklyn. Sorry, Armani. Please go easy on us. Don't go too crazy on us today. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining me today. Tomorrow we'll react to the game today. 5 o'clock. Be ready for it, y'all. All right. Thank you. Let's go Raptors. Yeah.